You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
CTV Sundays. Television's most captivating love story continues on Sullivan's Crossing.
It's hard to focus on the present when you're still looking at the past.
But the road ahead takes an unexpected turn.
I would have thought you'd mentioned being married before.
A lot's changed since then.
Morgan Cohan and Chad Michael Murray in the drama that asks, is true love enough? An all-new Sullivan's Crossing, Sundays on CTV. Stream next day on Crave.
Oh, Canada. Jiffy Lube is here to keep you moving through mornings like these. Full synthetic oil changes, quality Pennzoil products, tire checks, battery tests, and everything else your car needs to get through our winters. Stop by Jiffy Lube for fast, easy, warranty-approved service. No appointment, no hassle. Just dependable service right when you need it. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving through this.
Sports 1440. Stingray radio station. CKJR. Broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Have your sports curiosity cured.
Quick read, straight. Slide breaking, couldn't get it there. Stretch pass on. Pastrnak in. Score! The Bruins are alive as Pastrnak wins Game 5.
A veteran of the sports reporting game for over 25 years.
Peter zone comes free to Basha. Basha in the high slot turns, shoots. It's loose. They score! Did it overtime for the Tigers. Down, never out. 2-1 series lead. 2-1 game 3 win for the Tigers.
Breaking down Edmonton's favorite teams.
Got it across. What Tyler Bouchard and he had fans on it. Tell you what, Husso's made a couple of big stops on the power play. Bouchard, McDavid looking, dishing. He won't stop that one. Solid stands the lead. It's a 4-1.
This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, here we go for Sol 655, Wednesday, April the 29th. Oilers respond in a big way up against it. Season on the line, and you just felt that they could not go out that way with a gentleman's sweep, and they beat the Ducks in game number 5. 4-1 to force a game 6 tomorrow night in Anaheim. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440 on your AM radio dial on your morning drive on a Wednesday or wherever you are heading out on a hump day this morning. So glad you could spend some time with us here to bust down last night's Oilers win and everything else in the world of sports. You can also watch us on YouTube at Sports 1440 AM. Drop us a like, a subscription. We're also on X, Facebook, Instagram, and even the old Twitch. And as always, we're streaming on the many platforms that are out there on iHeartRadio, the TuneIn app, even on sports1440.ca. And if you miss any part of any show, you can find it where all the podcasts hang out on Apple, Spotify, Google, even Amazon. Please subscribe. It's free. Select the auto download. You'll never miss any part of any show. Our text line should be humming along this morning. Get him in. We'll get him on at 833-401-1440. Yes, the Oilers needed to survive a game number 5, and they did just that thanks to a pretty good first period, where they got out to a 3-0 lead and saw, probably their best period of the series. Maybe the first period in game 1 was pretty good too, but they needed to see something like that where it wasn't just a 1-0 lead or a 2-0 lead. They got that 3-0 goal. And at times, yes, sat back, especially in the third period where, Anaheim had a lot of the play, didn't have a lot of 5-bell chances, but the Oilers did sit back in the third period. And even when it was 3-0, sat back a little bit. That 3-1 goal, a power play goal, got the Ducks back in it. But the Oilers' power play goal by Leon Draisaitl, the 4-1 goal, that was the one where everything said, the team said, not so fast, Anaheim. You've come back before, but not this time. For the fifth straight time, the Oilers scored the first goal of the series, but for the first time, didn't blow the lead. So that has a lot to say with it. 4-1 the final, and what did old Frank Saravalli say yesterday? Man, Frank said the score would be 4-1 Oilers. So you got to give it to Frank. You got to hand it to big Frank Saravalli to have the exact score picked. It wasn't it a totally different look up front? And it was funny because the Oilers had the morning skate yesterday, and they threw out some different defense pairings just for some simple little, quick, not even line rushes, just very, very simple little things. And everyone's going, wow, what's going on with the back end? Holy cow, they're changing things up. Well, the totally different look was up front, was it not? And that was because Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl started the game with Kasperi Kapanen. The big story in the game was, those Oiler stars were the stars of the game. I mean, between McDavid, Draisaitl, Evan Bouchard, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 9 points between the four guys. The big line that got it going was the Oilers' second line, and that was Zach Hyman, Vasily Podkolzin again, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Now, I mean, those guys set the tone. They set the tempo in the game. You can see Dickinson still continue to labor out there. I don't know how he's getting it done, but, I mean, they were still effective with Roslovic and Savoy. And then, on the fourth line, and that's another gutsy call by the head coach. Well, maybe it's not gutsy, but maybe it's just common sense. So Trent Frederick did not dress. That means it was Lazar, Szymanski, and Doc on the fourth line. I mean, other than the first game and the first period, I thought, Frederick's been highly invisible, was suspect, obviously, in game number 4 in overtime, but that's a goal that probably shouldn't go in anyway. But Connor McDavid had his best game of the series, and that was a build. That was a build-off. That was a build-off from what we saw in game number 4 in the third period, where, he had a couple of big rushes, and he had more tempo, more pace to his game, played 24:09. So full marks for him to keep gutting it out. And I mean, he gets asked at the end of the scrum, how you feeling? How you doing? And he doesn't know what to say. You're not going to say what's wrong, or if they're, this is hurting, that's hurting. You just got to kind of battle through it. That's what you have to do. As I said, a little bit of a situation where the team sat back in the third period, but nothing 5 alarmish as far as chance-wise went by the Anaheim Ducks. Connor Ingram, simply superb. 29 saves. I mean, the big save was at the end of the first period, that right pad save on Leo Carlsson. He continued to play in the second period at a very high level. And, I mean, he was one of the main reasons. And that's a call that Chris Knobloch and the coaching staff, and they explained it. When we hear from Chris Knobloch this morning, it was a reset that Connor Ingram, and even he said it, after game number 3, where the Oilers were, kind of blown out of the building, ran out of the rink, and he gave up a half dozen goals. There was a time for him where maybe it was a reset, and he played a lot down the stretch. He's played a lot of hockey. So, maybe we'll see what happens as the playoffs progress, and you're not even looking ahead to anything past tomorrow night. But it's almost like, in years past, where you need everyone. The defense pairing, Connor Murphy broke up play after play, and Darnell Nurse was very good too. That pairing was really good last night. Evan Bouchard, what can you say? That was a game for the ages. He broke up plays. He was angled. He put himself in position to angle off offensive players coming in, so his defending was really good. I mean, the pass to Vasily Podkolzin to open the scoring, and Podkolzin again, wicked shot. He's he's one of the, if not the heartbeat of the team right now. The heartbeat of the team. I mean, before last night, I mean, you could probably put Kappen in there too because, you know, the big goals that he was scoring. But right now, Vasily Podkolzin's, he's the heartbeat of the team. And, I mean, the 4-1 goal, for Bouchard to make that play, it's dangerous at the blue line. He's made some great plays there, and we've seen him not make some great plays there. This was an outstanding play, and then to feed Connor McDavid to set up Leon Draisaitl for a power play goal, that was the one that really killed him. That power play goal, by the way, was Leon Draisaitl's 23rd in franchise history, ties him with Wayne Gretzky for the most Stanley Cup playoff power play goals in franchise history. Now, the 3 assists for Bouchard, get this, that tied Paul Coffey for the most postseason assists by an Oilers defenseman in team history. That was his 5th career 3+ assist game in the Stanley Cup playoffs. That ties him with Bobby Orr, for the 3rd most by a defenseman in Stanley Cup history. He was really, really good last night. Also in the NHL last night, Boston staves off elimination by beating Buffalo 2-1 in overtime. David Pastrnak gets the overtime winner, and Minnesota now in the driver's seat doubles up the Dallas Stars to take a 3-2 series lead there. So it's back to Minnie for game number 6. 7-11 in Edmonton. Let's welcome in the Duke of Delburne. Good morning, Duke. I saw you come in. Your shoulders were hunched over a little bit here coming into the studio.
Maybe that's just compared to how I'd come in the past few days. You were probably looking at me like Charlie Brown from Peanuts with the sad music playing and the head slumped.
You were walking on
sagging.
Cloud 9. Hey?
No, another. I don't know. I think that was probably the least entertaining game of the series, just because of how the second half of it ended up folding out. But you give the Oilers a ton of credit. And what did we talk about yesterday? Their best players have not been their best players. And last night they were, with still a lot of help from the supporting cast. You mentioned guys like Podkolzin and Kapanen of note. They continue to have a really strong start to their playoffs. So the Oilers, they did not go out with the whimper that it seemed like a lot of the fan base, the texters, the listeners maybe were dreading the possibility of. And now they'll head back to SoCal for a chance to even this series. And listen, it was game 7 on home ice. I think any team will take that, even if it wasn't the cleanest road to get there. They get the chance to give themselves that opportunity with a game tomorrow night in Anaheim.
Text 833-401-1440. Ron Mexico says, from your comments early this morning, Kevin, it sounds like you're in favor of the style of play in the third period. Sign me up, or I am not. I don't know where you got that from, Ron Mexico. I said they sat back. I never ever said I was in favor of the way they played in the third period, or at times later in the second, or even when it was 3-0 for that matter. To start the third, I don't know where you're hearing that, Ron. But no, I thought they would come out a little harder and press to start the third period. They sat back, and I mean, every play was a dump out. Every play was a high arcing flip out of the zone. They had very, very, very little zone time in the third period. And luckily, I think, as I said, there were no 5-alarm chances by the Ducks, but Oilers, I mean, I was surprised at that, Duke, a little bit in the third too.
Yeah, I definitely was. And I suppose you can look at it twofold, right? You say, all right, the Oilers were confident in a 3-goal lead. Like once they restore the 3-goal after the power play goal, if it was 3-1, maybe we see a different thing, or different style, a different game plan roll out. But at 4-1, the team's confident to say, hey, we can basically go into a shell here and hope to withstand the storm and maybe not exert very much effort. We know how banged up so many of the players are across this Oilers lineup, especially key ones, and say, hey, if we just have to kind of sit back and play a casual-ish style of defense here in the third period and we can get out of this unscathed, then we're happy to do that. That's one way. Alternatively, you say, hey, they kind of left that door just cracked enough that the Ducks continue to basically all the way through to maybe the final 3, 4, 5 minutes of that hockey game until they took that too many men penalty, essentially saying that they might have, like, inside on the bench say, we still have a chance in this. We know we're capable of putting goals up on the board in quick succession. So
they pulled the goalie too, Duke, with about 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah. And they had him pulled for almost 2 full minutes
Yeah.
before they take that penalty. And the Oilers never really had much of a good, they didn't get past center ice to get a good look at it, which to me comes across as a bit of a negative on the game for the Oilers and a positive for the Ducks, in the sense that going back to on home ice, you can say, yeah, we lost that game pretty handily, but we were probably the better team in the second half of the game, and maybe even close to 2/3 of it, because as you said, Kevin, even at 3-0, the Oilers weren't exactly continuing to push the pace and press. Ville Husso did have to come up with a couple big saves after taking over for Dostal in relief, which was good because it kept the Ducks in it. But after that, he was the far less busy of the two goaltenders, even if Ingram made, I would say, probably 3 or 4 really good saves. And maybe maybe 1 or 2 of them being exceptional ones. But other than that, the Oilers were content to keep it to the outside and did a much better job of clearing out that net front on those long point shots that sifted through that had given them so much trouble in the previous games.
When you chase the goaltender, it's obviously a big thing, but Joel Quenneville's protecting him. That's Lucas Dostal for game number 6. He'll be back to start game number 6. But if you look at the goals, again, Leon's tip is through the legs. It's a great play by Bouchard again. 3 unbelievable assists by Bouchard last night. I'm surprised they haven't, and maybe I'll check today, but the scoring summary on the Hyman goal, that was the soft shot from the point from RNH, and that was a Dostal clearing attempt that went off the boards too, Duke, that, there wasn't the greatest of plays. I could have sworn then Podkolzin just got a hair and a sliver of it before Zach Hyman tipped it for a double tip. But last I saw last night, the scoring summary had not changed, but Podkolzin, he could care less about that. We'll get to a Jays big win at about 7:40. Trey Yosavich was outstanding. NBA at 7:40. We'll have, should mention the Brooks Bandits beat Sherwood Park last night. Game 7 of the BCHL playoffs. So 4-3, Brooks wins that series. Under 18's on right now. Quarterfinal action. Canada's losing to Sweden by a score of 2-1 in the second period. But we'll bust down the NFL, the NBA, and of course, the Elks draft and the CFL draft coming up at 7:40. The Elks with the number 1 pick took Daryl Jabomi, a linebacker out of Rutgers. So we'll bust down the rest of those picks at about 7:40 as well. And as the morning progresses too. We're still working on Mark Spector. We don't know if he's in the air. He could be having a little bit of a layover in Vancouver, but he left out early today. So coming up on the big program, we've got Andrew Walker. Sometimes he works late, sometimes he's up early. Today is one of those days. Walks will be with us following last night's post-game show right here on Sports 1440. Still working on Mark Spector. We'll also talk to Dave Naylor, CFL on TSN. So we'll get his whole wrap on the draft, plus big news with the CFL with new playoff format and an earlier start to the season. We'll get Dave's thoughts on that. David Schlemko will be by at 9 o'clock to co-host the final 2 hours of the show, the former NHLer for Cougar Paint and Collision. We got Michael Trakos from the Hockey News. We'll discuss what's happening out east, a couple of big series potentially, one potentially ending tonight with Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, Tampa and Montreal. It's been phenomenal hockey as well. And then at 10 o'clock, we'll bust down that Flyers-Penn series with Jordan Hall from NBC Sports. When we come back, Andrew Walker, our Sports 1440 pre- and post-game show host. It's a Kevin Karius show with the Duke of Delburne and Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Would you like to be a part of history for the month of April? I'm kidding. Or as the kids say, bro, I'm joking. Would you like to help us set a record in April? Chill, still kidding. At Northgate, we aren't trying to set any records or tell you how many vehicles we sell, and we really don't think you'd care. But what you will care about is this. Every dealer has the same costs. Trust me, GM does not have a favorite kid. You get to decide where you buy. 0% financing, a great selection, and of course, great people. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or business online at northgategm.com.
uniforms.
You're in Northgate country.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
What does deadline mean?
It means you have to do something before time runs out.
Oh, like buying your big brother's, big sister's dream home tickets?
Yes, exactly like that.
The Dream Home Lottery deadline is April 30th. That's tomorrow. Your chance to win the grand prize, your choice, a dream home or $1 million and take home half the Win 50 jackpot is almost gone. Every ticket supports kids right here in our community. BigBrothersDreamHome.org. When you buy a ticket, you help a child.
Lottery license 745563 and 745562. Please play responsibly.
Running a business is tough. Finding new customers shouldn't be. Stop chasing leads. Let them come to you with Stingray, offering you access to more digital, outdoor, and traditional advertising platforms, including radio, connected TV, search and social, programmatic, digital advertising, and digital out-of-home. So while you're closing the next deal, Stingray is working for you to deliver more leads, more customers, more sales. It's that easy. Get started now at stingraymediasolutions.com and always be closing.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 7:21 in Edmonton, and time now for the Puck Report, brought to you by Fountain Tire. And at Fountain Tire, we can meet all your car needs and more with our digital vehicle report. We just don't tell you what your car needs, we show you. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com today as we welcome back Andrew Walker. You hear him pre and post game right here on Sports 1440. Good morning, Walks. You're with Kevin Karius. Thanks for getting up early after another late game. And that was a longer game, I thought, time-wise, wasn't it?
Little bit, yeah, a little bit. Generally, if we can get in, an hour and a little bit on the post-game show to take us till midnight, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And it was already kind of top of the hour, so we ended up going till about 12:30 because people were pretty excited about the win. But, playoff games, it's funny. It's the same in baseball, right? Like, we have this pitch clock now, and we try to get everything to under 2.5, and it's been really good. And, man, you get the Yankees and Red Sox in the playoffs, that's still going to go 4 hours.
Some of those games back in the day, those Red Sox-Boston games and any World Series games were 4 hours plus. Yeah, for sure. Hey, before we bust down the whole game, and I never mentioned it off the top in the opening monologue, but just the dangerous hit by Chris Kreider on Leon Draisaitl right in front of the referee. And everyone in the world doesn't understand why there was no call. And then the referee is looking right at it. And I think he felt bad about it that he didn't make the call. I didn't understand it for sure.
You know, I agree. I think that the referee was almost a little surprised at. I mean, it's a dangerous hit. I don't like the hit at all. Kreider is really lucky that it's Leon Draisaitl. There's probably a few guys in the NHL who are big enough horses that hit doesn't propel them into the boards. If it's Matt Savoy, for instance, it's 5 in a game, and maybe bring out a stretcher for Savoy. Leon totally absorbed that hit, and he's good at doing that. I think the referee was almost maybe a little surprised in the moment how well he handled it, and maybe he double guessed or said, "Oh, maybe it wasn't that bad," but it was pretty bad. I agree with you.
Yeah, for sure. And then Leon kind of got away with one too a little later, and maybe it was one of those. All right, I didn't see, or I saw that one, didn't call it, and I'm not going to call this one here. But the best part here is that Leon's okay, and he bounced right back up, and whatever. He looked good for the rest of the way. So
I thought it had real bad potential. I was at the game in the game in Calgary. The Flames are playing Florida earlier this year, where AJ Greer hit Connor Zary from behind, and we had good seats that night. I got a really good view of it. It was like the worst hit I've seen live in a long time. And that one had similar feelings, and just Draisaitl didn't go down.
Yeah, exactly. Andrew Walker with us on Sports 1440. What did you make when the lines came out of the chute right off the hop of the game?
I mean, it's, we read the lines, we, have a thought on it, and then you just know that in a game like this, with all, different guys injured to a certain extent, and also facing elimination, it was just going to be a wild, wonky game to predict, and it was. And obviously Connor is laboring a little bit, but again, an 80% Connor, if that's what he is a pretty great player. So I don't really focus on the Connor injury too much. I think last night there was a lot of guys, and who knows what got them going. Was it the desperation? Was it the different guys on their lines? But Hyman obviously had an impact in the series. That was his best game by a landslide. I thought we were going to actually see more jumbled D pairings, and that was kind of a bit of sleight of hand by Knobloch. We ended up seeing the same guys.
Yeah.
And I thought Wallman was going to play a lot more. He didn't. But it's a big difference when Bouchard plays like that. That was easily his best game of the series. So the only thing that threw me off a little bit, I don't know about you, but Podkolzin, who just came out like a bat out of hell, got the guys going, scored a goal, nearly scored the next shift. Had an assist on that tip.
I thought so too. Yeah.
For some reason, they took it away from him, but they got to add that back.
I agree.
Clear of an assist as you can ever get.
Exactly.
And then at the end of the day, he only played 12 minutes. And so I'm a little worried that he got banged up, because in a game like that where you have a 3-goal lead, I expected Podkolzin to go bang and crash for 17-18.
And I think it was misleading because you add a couple minutes to Connor's 24 at the end, with that power play where they just passed it around. So, at that point, maybe Podkolzin plays a little bit more down the stretch. And what happened, I think that last 5 minutes when, the Anaheim pulled the goalie, it just, they were on their heels in the sense of they're trying to get guys out, and they were, like maybe up against it in the sense they weren't sure how to get out on the fly with a 6-on-5 for so long. So
could be for sure. And then the other minute total, obviously, like some guys are kind of hiding injuries, and Dickinson is clearly very hurt. I'd be almost we'll see if he even plays in game 6, but he played 10 minutes and he was struggling out there to get around. So, I respect his grit and his guts and his determination, but you can tell it's taken a lot of work to get him on the ice.
There was a one play, I don't know if you saw it because you probably had to be in the rink because the camera wasn't on it, but he got tangled up with, I think it was Trouba, along the sideboards and actually grabbed his stick, and it looked like he was hurt. And then he got to the bench, and then he looked fine, and then he tried to sort of kind of straddle over the boards, and it looked like, a guy at our hockey on Thursdays trying to get over the boards. That's what it looked like. So
yeah. When I was in it's funny, when I was in Switzerland, I always drove me crazy because even men's league in Switzerland, nobody uses the gate.
No,
everybody hops the boards, and I'm like, sorry boys, I'm going through the door.
Got that right. Yeah. Andrew Walker with us in Sports 1440. I found, when Chris Knobloch spoke post game, and I thought this was something that no one had ever thought about with these line changes. And he brought up last year, and he brought up when Evander Kane came back, and he was really good with Nugent Hopkins and Zach Hyman. And then he said, well, we would have went into the final with that line, but then Hyman got hurt. And he said, like last night, well, Podkolzin's that guy now. Podkolzin's your Evander Kane. And that's why that he was confident to change the lines to have those three play together because of what he saw last year. And he felt Podkolzin could be that insert to where Kane was.
Yeah, and obviously Podkolzin moves a whole lot better than Kane did at the end, maybe Kane in his prime. But he also said in the post game, people, for a long time now have been kind of lobbying to play with Podkolzin because he can bring so much to every line. He's just getting, what a story, right? He's just getting better and better as a player. If you could add 5 or 6 more Podkolzins, you would do it. It's a good contract. big. He shows up at the right time in the postseason. He's been consistently one of their best players. Just, for all the there's been some bad here in the Stan Bowman transaction era. Hard to find a better one than that. I just am a big fan of Podkolzin. And yeah, I was throwing this out a little bit as well. Not on the air, but Donnie and I were talking. Like, if and when their season ends, you think of, okay, how do you improve the team with your cap space? Like, is there a goalie, a bigger name goalie you can trade for, Gustafson in Minnesota, whatever it is. Anyway, we're going through, and I was saying it's just really hard to see the Oilers pulling off a trade in the off season because, the assets that other teams would want, you just don't really want to part with. And the lone, not exception, because I wouldn't want to part with them either, but the one guy on this club that has a ton of value anywhere is Podkolzin. I don't think they'd entertain trading him, but I mean, man, you go calling for any good player in the NHL, I think the first ask from any other team would be number 92. And I just think that speaks a lot to how good he's gotten.
I think Leon would quit. He'd say, get me out of here too then,
Yeah, back to the Bundesliga, sorry.
Am I crazy to say, and I said it off the hop, like right now, is he the heartbeat of this team right now?
He is, depending on what you mean by that, he is the constant, right? Like the same guy every night, does a little bit of everything, plays 82, isn't necessarily on all the commercials. Like again, every team needs those guys, and you need a bunch of them. And Florida had it, and Tampa had it. Like, it's what Cirelli does for Florida. It's what Bennett does for Florida. It just ties everything in together. I mean, however you want to term it, sure, heartbeat, absolutely. But Podkolzin is a big part of this structure for sure. In a lot of ways, we talk about this core, and Nugent Hopkins getting a little older. He might not be part of that automatic core anymore. But Podkolzin is quickly becoming that.
Andrew Walker with us on Sports 1440. Connor Ingram was sensational last night. Maybe his biggest save was off Leo Carlson late in the first there, that right pad save when Carlson came in humming on the backhand. But and again, when you listen to what Knobloch, how they decided about going, who they're going to start with, it made perfect sense. And I mean, Ingram did not disappoint last night. How do you think he kind of rebounded after not playing in game number 4?
You know what? He just looked incredibly calm and put together. It's been a weird series, right? Because the Oilers going into last night had given up 20 goals. And there was, just so many that were pretty bad luck, bad bounces, good puck luck for Anaheim on Ingram and Jarry. Like usually goaltending is a huge conversation, in this market and on our shows and everything like that. And like Ingram allowed 6 goals one game, and we weren't really talking about him. Like it's been a weird series for goaltending that way. And last night I thought that, the dealer was showing a 6 and he got 2 10s to bust. Like that's what's supposed to happen, right? Like the Oilers weren't hemorrhaging grade A's. Ingram was in there. Even Anaheim's goal was a bit of a weird bounce because you say, I said, good stick. And then it's in, right? Because it goes right to a duck, and they've scored 6 or 7 goals that way this series. It almost looked like, kind of the speculation of, is Ingram playing too much? And then he took 1 game off and he just looked energized. And, give Jarry credit. I think he was pretty good the other night. Oilers could have pulled off that game and they would be in great spot in the series. But I love the idea of going back to Jarry. I'm not sure they would, but that's certainly what I wanted. And Jarry, solidified his role in Game 6 for sure. You'll see him on Thursday.
Andrew Walker on the Kevin Carey Show on Sports 1440. And you touched on Evan Bouchard, a few moments ago. I mean, this was his best game by far. He played like 27 minutes, had the 3 assists, but man, he was good defensively. He was good everywhere on the ice last night. Yeah,
he broke up, a nice short-handed rush there. I thought he was real physical. He's physical when he has to be. He'd rather go grab the puck, and that's a good type of defense as well. But last night he stood up Seneca pretty well. Listen, he's a fabulous player that gets better when the postseason rolls around. And it was the Oilers might still lose the series, obviously, but it was it's something that sunk them early. They had a number of impact players that they just didn't instantly turn into their playoff forms, and Bouchard was one of them. But I would expect him to be real good from here on out, and hopefully that includes a Game 7 on Saturday.
What do you think when they chased Dostal? And obviously it was sort of and he wasn't sharp, 2 goals like through the wickets, but more of a look ahead to Game 6 and sway the momentum and, have a bit of a timeout by Quenneville. But do you think this puts a little doubt in like Dostal and maybe the Oilers about, chasing a goaltender?
I mean, I think the Oilers, probably were happy in the moment. But for me, when it comes to Quenneville and, with Dostal, he's a good young goalie, and that's fine. That's great. Every team would love him. But the Oilers never get, who's the last goalie in the postseason that really gave the Oilers trouble? You could probably go back to...
Well, it's Bobrovsky,
the first couple games, right? Where Bobrovsky shut them out in Game 1 in the first final. And but then once the Oilers solved Bobrovsky, they were throwing 6 or 7 a night past him, right? So they're I don't care. They beat Nottinger. There's not really a goalie that worries me. And Dostal's a great young goalie, and the Oilers have no trouble pumping goals past him. But with that pull, it came so early that to me it was Quenneville, and not that they were giving up on that game, but Quenneville and Dostal and the Ducks in general saying, okay, we're young, lesson learned. It's on to Game 6. Obviously we're going to, put an effort here, but it was all the preparation for the Ducks for Game 6. I felt already started at the end of the first period, and worry is a wrong word, but it just kind of reaffirmed, I think Anaheim's going to be really good on Thursday. Who knows? Maybe they're a little nervous now, right? They had a chance to close it out. They didn't. They're young. They've never been here before. Right? You can be young to start a playoff series, but when you're trying to close out a playoff series, it's another, test of your youth. But, even that pull to me, I just really think Anaheim is gearing up for Game 6. They're going to be really good. It's going to be a very, very hard game for the Oilers to win.
Would you say there are some similarities here between the Ducks and being a younger team and on home ice where it's the same with Philly? I mean, the Flyers have some younger guys. They've got some veteran guys too. But if they don't win tonight, against Pittsburgh, and that's the same boat the Ducks are in almost.
Yeah, and you can look at, even last night, right? Buffalo has a chance to close it out at home, and the veteran Bruins get it done. All these series have been extended. Yeah, listen, there's something to be said there. You go back again to that 24 final, and you were down in the area, and I wasn't doing the post game shows yet then, but I went down to the hotel to see some media friends that were in town, and it was 3-0 Panthers at that point, and that was it, right? We all know the story. They flew in friends and family, and Oilers looked dead in the water, and everybody was planning their all the media was planning their golf trip or going to the beach. The long playoff run was finally over. I remember talking to my buddy Ray Ferraro, Landon's dad, and he was like, I'd love to go in because it's 3-0. He's like, the Oilers are going to play real hard tonight. But he's like, I'd love to go into the room and be like, guys, listen, you had a great run, amazing job. You're down 3-0 in the final. There is no reason for you to send us all back to a plane to Florida. Just get it done tonight. And sure enough, Oilers end up winning, and then they win the next night. They win the next night, and all the momentum in the world was on their side. And this is a long way of saying the most impressive thing about the Florida Panthers that I saw in the last 2 years was their ability. They were just hemorrhaging. And somehow they got it together for Game 7 and played a super strong, sharp game. And I didn't think that was possible. When you're in that bad, when you're losing control of the situation, that is the heart of a champion. That's professionalism, to be able to throw it all back and come and play one great game.
Well,
but Florida's gone through a lot of things to earn that, right? And so it would be very impressive if any of these teams said, okay, we've lost these series leads. We're about to make history because we've been up 3-1 or up 3-0. We might blow it. We'll see what teams have the stones to lock it all down.
Thursday hockey, Old Milwaukee tomorrow, Walks, or what?
Yeah, no, I'll be there. I actually came Monday for the first time, and you weren't there.
No, couldn't make her Monday.
Yeah, you were taking but I heard you were jogging around the neighborhood in a tank top.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that text momentarily here. Yeah. The guy scared the bejesus out of me when he almost like burned rubber and came to a screeching halt and hollered out.
Well, he's probably trying to help. He probably thought you were in cardiac arrest.
No, I don't think so, big guy. All right,
he's been watching a lot of episodes of The Pit, so he thought he could help you.
We'll see you tomorrow, Walks. Thanks, man.
Okay, bye-bye.
Andrew Walker, our pre- and post-game show host on Sports 1440, and you got to give him credit. I mean, the guy's up working till midnight, and then he leads things off here on a Wednesday morning, and that was the Puck Report brought to you by Fountain Tire. And at Fountain Tire, we focus on one thing. It's your vehicle. Check them out at fountaintire.com today to book your appointment today. We'll get to some real texts in a second, but yeah, yesterday, Duke, I went for a run. It wasn't really a run because I had Sammy, the dog, and I'm trying to get him to learn to run a little bit.
Well, I was going to say, Sammy can't keep up with you. A dog
it's
cannot keep pace with the great Kevin Karius.
Yeah, the stride. But it's because he wants to sniff and stop. You know, it's
it's curious.
It's hard. Anyway, I think it was on 80th Avenue, and all of a sudden, it's like a screeching halt. This truck was going the other way. Guy yells out, "Hey, Karius!" And I turn around, and then he peeled off. And anyway, CB radio guy was in. He says, nothing better than seeing Karius out for a run in the neighborhood. What a beauty. Love the yellow tank top. Well, it's a little, I don't know if it's a tank top. He says, yeah, I was out on a jog yesterday. Made my day. I knew he lived in the neighborhood. Haven't seen him since the shinny Christmas day at the rink a few years ago. Sorry for yelling at you. I said, no problem. Sort of woke me up, actually. But Jay and Victoria, love to hear all the pod love. Jay texts, it makes me so happy for him. Such a great story for young kids. You have always heard how he is the hardest working player. Another thing that gets mentioned yesterday in the post-game show on the podium. You know, he's out there early every day. Connor Ingram saying, yeah, he's, I'm fielding shots from him before everyone's getting out there for normal practices. There's no question about that. Morris, Pod's play and value to this team reminds me of Darren McCarty in the Red Wings heyday. BC Oiler texts in, Kreider's a low-key dirtbag from way back. He was the guy that took out Carey Price in the 2014 Eastern Conference Final. Do you remember that, Duke? Low-key dirtbag. When we come back, we'll get to more of your texts. We'll hear some Oilers sound at some point. We're going to talk a little bit about the Double E's draft yesterday with the CFL, and we're still working on spec at 8 o'clock. So we might.
Spec is unfortunately unavailable.
Spec?
He said it's going to be too tight.
Spec is out.
Can't make it.
Yeah, I knew he didn't sound very like it was.
He just wanted to give you a glimmer of hope, Kev.
No, he didn't.
Keep you hanging by a thread. That's what spec does to you on a day-to-day basis. Just hoping, praying that you'll get a chat with your buddy.
Never mind that. So it was after our 8th or 9th encounter last night. High spec, whatever. What do you think? Frederick's not playing, blah, 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 All right. The next conversation, And then at the very end, oh, by the way, quite likely I'm not coming on tomorrow.
Yeah, but barring a substantial turnaround in this hockey game, I'm going to be SoCal bound in the wee hours.
Yeah.
Wonder what if he was a little bit concerned when he's supposed to be heading south and the sun is on the wrong side of him coming up over the eastern horizon.
He's going to think he's flying.
Yeah,
east.
he thinks he's heading to GP or something instead. Layover.
Wow, that guy's got no. Hey, did you see him and Eddie going at it a bit yesterday?
No.
Okay.
Where, on Twitter?
Yes.
What?
Yeah. Well, what happened was Eddie sent a thing out about some landscaping, and Spec said, how about Eddie, you dig in, get a wheelbarrow and a shovel. And then Eddie sends a picture of a log splitter and says something to the effect of, oh yeah, Spec. Yeah, this is how this is how you handle your wood situation at the lake. So
I'm seeing Eddie's original post. I'm missing the replies.
Maybe Spec took it down already.
Spec deleted it out of embarrassment. Oh no, here we go. Yeah, recommendations: buy a wheelbarrow and shovel, dig in, and then he's got the super handy log splitter. I'll dig in for my landscaping as much as you dig in for your firewood at the cabin. Wow, some tete-a-tete. This should make for an interesting Friday morning.
So, by the way, Duke, on this subject to Eddie, I did reach out to him and I said, Eddie, you and I can handle this project. So I'm going to help Eddie out. And I think, Duke, you're going to come.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't have any plans.
Josh, at some point you can come. All you get,
Josh, you can pop by with the cold drinks.
Bring a case of beer for the guys.
You can just drop it, just throw it out the window if that's what it takes. Drive by beer drop off.
Sure.
Make sure to bring some of the non-alcoholic ones that you enjoyed from Brant Myers. Eddie will need those.
Unhammered,
right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
King of Fort Nasty texts in, look, LOL, Karius is screening me again. Well, I can't read that text on the air, King, for one thing. It's a great text, but I cannot read it on the air. Sorry, pal. When we come back, we'll get to some more of your texts, 833-401-1440. It's Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We are streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocentre.com today.
Nothing beats getting a deal at McDonald's. Why? Because you get a deal now.
And a deal later.
Redeem an offer from the latest mailer or on the McDonald's app and dig into instant savings. Plus, you earn points towards
free McDonald's.
Now that's what I call
a double whammy of deals.
Why does that keep happening? Deals sent right to your door. Check your mailbox for the latest McDonald's mailer loaded with delicious value. For a limited time at participating restaurants in Western Canada.
It's Truck Month at Wolf GMC Buick, and we know trucks. And we have the best deals of the year right now. Some have 0% for 4 years. We have 0% for 6 years. That's on our #1 selling GMC Sierra half-ton crew cab, or the Elevation, the AT4, or Denali. Yep, 0% for 72 months. And Costco members get an extra discount on some of our SUVs. Pop in today and drive away smiling. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
There's nothing like a spring sunset by the lake. Oh, wait, that's a pothole. And that was a new truck. Oh, what the Springtime in Edmonton also means project time with help from Metal Supermarkets. Huge inventory cut to your precise requirements, plus metal bending, drilling, punching, notching, plasma cutting, welding, even delivery. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in stock, ready to deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need, when you need it, 24/7, 365, every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and I want to give you something for free. A free roof assessment on your used RV. And remember, basically every RV is a used RV.
What do I get for my free roof assessment, Rick?
Well, Bob, we're going to climb up on top of your RV and take a good detailed look at your roof. Check all the joints, connections, and seals. Then we'll give you a written report so you know exactly what's going on up there. You should do this at least twice a year.
You're just doing this out of the goodness of your heart, Rick?
Cards on the table, Bob. About 1 in 10 RVs we see have something wrong with the roof. If yours is one of them, then yes, we're going to offer to sell you a repair. But we'd rather do a small repair when your leak is small than sell you a big, expensive repair when it's so bad you can see it from the inside. And you don't have to accept our offer to fix it. It really is free either way. So come by No Bull RV and know for sure.
And that's NoBullRV.ca.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 748 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne. Josh Fenwick with you here on a Wednesday morning. So glad you could spend some time with us here on Sports 1440 AM radio. The CFL draft was held yesterday. The Edmonton Elks had the number 3 overall selection in the first round, and they picked up a linebacker, Daryl Jabomi, out of Rutgers. And Ed Hervey feels that he can contribute immediately. And I did not know this, but I can't remember. His older brother was picked by the Double E back in 2020. Don't remember him, to be honest with you. But anyway, that was their first pick, number 3 overall. Then they had the 12th overall pick in the second round. They take Benjamin Sangmua. He's a tweener between a DB and a linebacker out of the University of British Columbia. So this is a guy that will be, a special teams guy to start, and hopefully somewhere down the road, he ends up to be, a key contributor. He did accept an NFL minicamp invite from the Indianapolis Colts. Same thing with Jabomi, invitation to the Washington Commanders minicamp. That's just the way this draft worked, and we're going to have Dave Naylor speak about the amount of NCAA players that will be attending, et cetera, or were drafted already. In the sense that, man, oh man, it was just deep NCAA wise. Also in the second round, they had Wesley Bailey, a D lineman that they picked up at the University of Louisville. In the third round, they go local. Carter Kettle, a wide receiver. We saw him play lots with the Alberta Golden Bears. He's a receiver, played 4 years with the Bears. Carter's a really, really good receiver. Had 100 receptions for 1,700 yards and 17 touchdowns. And this is a guy that, down the road, you could look at a guy like Carter Kettle being a big contributor as a Canadian receiver. He's got that much talent. Spencer Walsh, an old lineman out of University of Laurier, the Golden Hawk, in the fourth round. And then Justin Pace, a linebacker, also in the fourth round from Queens. In the sixth round, an offensive lineman, Chris Pashula from the University of Calgary. And then in the seventh round, Aloha Latendres Regimwald. He's from the University of McGill. He's played quarterback and receiver as well. And then in the seventh round, Matthew Juden, an offensive lineman out of the University of Alberta. So they get a couple of local products here as well. I should mention, and I didn't know a whole heck of a lot about him because I couldn't remember. And I was talking to the big Baldy in the neighborhood, Noor Gatkuth. He's an Edmonton guy. He played here, some high school ball, and then he went out to Toronto. He was selected 4th overall by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And then the number 1 pick was Giordano Vaccaro. He's an offensive lineman from Winnipeg. At least they had a decent draft party. I was watching that at the start of the draft. And Vaccaro was the number 1 selection overall to the Ottawa Red Blacks. As far as I know, I think in the entire first round, just one U Sports player out of Queens, and that was Nicholas Henning, number 2 to the Toronto Argonauts. And then should mention yesterday, it would have happened right when the Duke and Connor Halley were probably just going off the air, I think, for Fantasy Frenzy. But the league announced that some big changes for 2027 in the sense that there's a new playoff format and an earlier start to the season. The easiest way to explain this, 8 out of 9 teams now will make the playoffs. 8 out of 9 teams will make the playoffs. The league is trying to sell this in the sense that, it's going to be some great battles for some playoff position. 1 and 2 in each division will play each other, with the winner moving on to the West or East final. The team that loses that game will get a do-over and play the winner of a reseeding of 5 through 8. So you could be playing someone not in your division or in your division because it will be reseeded. The one thing that we do know in these games, there will be a team or two teams that have 5 wins, maybe 6 wins. Could be even, I mean, if a team really stinks and gets 2 or 3 wins all season long, that's going to be your 9th place team and not make it. So you could have a team with 4 wins, go 4-14, and make the playoffs. A lot of people aren't happy about this. I understand where the commissioner's coming from. You're going to get extra playoff games, which creates, they hope, more revenue. The other thing, too, is the earlier start. So they're going to start everything on the May long weekend in 2027. The one thing that they haven't talked about is, like in markets like here, if the Oilers are going, there's going to be nothing in the CFL. Winnipeg's a little different. Vancouver, if the Canucks ever get back to the playoffs, who knows? Like Calgary, same thing. There's so many, and it's not just that. Our country is so into the Stanley Cup playoffs right through June. The goal last year, did anyone really care about what was going on in the CFL in Edmonton besides your 10, 12,000 fans? All of this isn't going to draw new fans. It won't. The new rules won't. I don't know. Quick, sorry to put you on the spot here, Duke, before the update. I guess we're not up against it because Spec is not coming on, so you can take your time. But I don't know, 8 out of 9 teams, that seems to be.
Just the first thing that comes to mind with that specific, Kevin, is like it makes the league Mickey Mouse. Like all but one team makes the playoffs. How often do we find ourselves ridiculing the NBA for this expanded postseason little play-in tournament and saying like, what a joke. It doesn't matter anyway. All it is just to get the owners maybe one more home game revenue stream. And we have, listen, we've seen some teams other play-in go on to have a little bit of success in the playoffs. And hey, the Magic, they've got the first place Pistons up against the ropes right now, but that's just because they're a really good team, as I predicted from the start of the season. But it's, what's the point? And I get it. The CFL is a much smaller league where the gap in play from, say, the 3rd place team to the 8th place team isn't that stark. But it also, what if every team but one makes the playoffs? What is the point of playing the regular season?
Again, that's the whole thing. Like you got to get to the 2-hole, right? Like if you can get the 2nd spot in each division. Here's another thing, Duke, and this could very well happen, and it would be disaster. It would be disaster for the league. What happens if, and we've talked about this because the crossovers happened before,
right?
But what happens if now you're going to have 2 Western teams in the Grey Cup final? Like this is supposed to be Canadiana. It's supposed to be our country. Like there's few enough people out east that give a rat's ass about the CFL. So, what happens if somehow all of a sudden, say Montreal's got a decent team and someone catches lightning in a bottle out east and beats the West, and now there's no Western team in the Grey Cup final?
Yeah, I just keep falling back on the notion that we've seen in recent years one team fall to the bottom of the table pretty quickly. And hey, it's been the Elks. Obviously, the Red Blacks last year were never really in the mix. If after the first month and a half, 2 months of the season, you already know who all the 8 and the rest, and so the teams can essentially mail it. I get it, you want to jockey for position and give yourself the best chance because of the new seeding and format come playoff time. But at the same time, in that same gap that one team can fall all the way to the bottom, one team can go on an 8-0 run to start the season, and nobody's going to catch them.
They're in the playoffs no matter what.
So all of a sudden, you say, well, we're not going to make our way to one of the top seeds to give ourselves this benefit. We're going to be in this 3 through 8 range. Why bother icing our best lineup every week? Why if a guy's even semi banged up, sit him out for 3 weeks. Who cares? It just takes all the meaning out of the regular season. You can come at me with the arguments about the seeding and how the top spots matter more now and all. I don't care. The whole, what makes sports exciting is what we saw in the NHL final month of the season here. Final couple spots up for grabs, handful of teams all duking it out.
And if you don't make it, you're out.
Yeah.
Like, again, and we're going to see this. They're going to sell this. The CFL will sell it that, oh, yeah, but you can get in. There's going to be a team that tries to get to second, or again, when they reseeded 5 through 8, well, now you're trying to, well, what if you can get home field and be in a 5 and a 6 seed, and then you don't have to play on the road for 7 and 8? I just, there's so many things that are happening now with this league that didn't need to change, in my opinion.
Listen, the rule changes. We talked about this extensively last summer when they were announced. I can get it for them trying to do something, not remain stagnant. And I'm kind of with you, Kevin. I'm not sure how many new fans it pulls, but does it at least try and retain the fans you have by making the game more exciting? Whatever, their reasoning for it.
Yeah.
This is just such an effort of no necessity.
Yeah.
There's no need for this to happen. The schedule and shifting it up. Yeah, you hear your arguments both ways. Clashing with the Stanley Cup playoffs, absolutely. That's a factor. Them wanting to capitalize on long weekends all summer long. Hey, I can appreciate the effort from a marketing and that standpoint. But the schedule aside, to me, the big thing is this new playoff format. I'm could not be more
against
out
it.
on
Yeah.
it.
I think the earlier start, and again, I understand what they're trying to do with the long weekends. I've never thought that the May long weekend is a big deal to start. The one thing I've always said, they should have games on eve of Canada Day. Like that's, the eve, not Canada Day itself. Maybe there's one game, but if you can play some games, because what are we looking at, Duke? It's, it's light out till 11 here.
That's awesome, right? And so all of that, and we got a couple texts in too, like about starting the season earlier, more summer games. Yeah, I can appreciate that part of it, and credit to them for trying to take a new approach to sell the game better. But the playoff thing is just so unnecessary.
Jason says, big whoop. This is just old guys hating changes. Well, Duke's not that old. Come on now. Baseball's much better with changes, no doubt. But what we're talking about, Jason, is that out of that's like saying 28 teams in the majors are going to make the playoffs.
And there's still plenty of people that hate the MLB expanding the playoff picture the way it did, because the whole point being that, and a lot of them were, use the Dodgers as the example, where you win 95 games and then lose in the first round of the playoffs because some team just got hot at the right time. Like the regular season is supposed to matter. And it's in a sport like baseball where it's 162 games, like even more so. In the CFL, it is a long season for how few teams there are in the league. I think that is, you can't argue it. It's a long season for how many teams.
The only good thing, Army Darrell says, an extra tailgate playoff party. I'm in.
Not bad, Army Darrell. Keep those Pilsners on ice, buddy.
Well, how about anything on ice, Darrell? like it's almost like you go there for a beer, and he's had 3 or 4 beer resting on the manifold of his truck, Duke, with his can of Chef Boyardee for his tailgate party. Come on, Army Darrell. Hey, in the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to hear from some Oilers sound from last night. Chris Knobloch had some great comments for sure. We'll check in with the head coach, and also Connor McDavid. We'll have that as the morning progresses too. We'll bust on a little more of the CFL and get Dave Naylor's thoughts on 8 out of 9 teams making the playoffs. Before that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by AWS Welding Supplies in Nisku. Product sales, servicing, calibrating, and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. Your one-stop shop for all things welding, awswelding.ca. Here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Edmonton Oilers stave off elimination last night with a resounding 4-1 win over the Ducks. They now trail the best of 7 series 3-2. It'll shift back to Anaheim for Game 6 tomorrow night. Leon Draisaitl, pair of goals. Evan Bouchard, 3 assists in the victory. Elsewhere, the Stanley Cup playoffs last night, the Boston Bruins also staving off elimination with a 2-1 overtime win in Buffalo. David Pastrnak then the game winner in that one. And the Wild double up on the Stars 4-2 to take a 3-2 series advantage as it shifts back to Minnesota. And at the U18 World Championships quarterfinal action this morning, Team Canada currently tied with Sweden 2-2 after 40 minutes. Earlier on, the Czechs beat Finland 2-1. USA and Latvia will come up later this morning, as will Slovakia taking on Denmark. In the BCHL last night, season coming to a close for the Sherwood Park Crusaders as they fall to the Brooks Bandits 6-1 the final from Southern Alberta. Brooks take the best of 7, 4-3. In the association, the Sixers get a big night from Joel Embiid, 33 points, extends the series to a Game 6 as Philly wins at 113-97 over Boston. The Knicks win big, 126-97 over Atlanta to take a 3-2 series lead. And the San Antonio Spurs finish off Portland in a 4-1 series win with a 114-95 victory. In the majors yesterday, Trey Savage, first start of the season, is a good one. He goes 5 2/3 on road to a 3-0 win for the Jays over the Red Sox. And the CFL Canadian Draft last night, Edmonton Elks, 9 picks in total, including 3rd overall, where they selected linebacker Daryl Jabomi out of Rutgers. Coming up in hour 2 of the Kevin Karius Show, we'll hear some Oilers sound from postgame last night and be joined by Dave Naylor from the CFL on TSN. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
I won't shave till we bring home the cup. And I like to do a shot for every playoff goal.
My jersey's not coming off until we're the city of champs again.
Want a playoff superstition that always wins? Pick up a bag of Wilhock beef jerky for every game. Because when it comes to the playoffs, where there's a Wilhock, there's a way.
Make every playoff game a Will Hockey game day with Wilhock beef jerky. Only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't bring home the cup with salad.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Would you like to be a part of history for the month of April? I'm kidding. Or as the kids say, bro, I'm joking. Would you like to help us set a record in April? Chill, still kidding. At Northgate, we aren't trying to set any records or tell you how many vehicles we sell, and we really don't think you'd care. But what you will care about is this. Every dealer has the same costs. Trust me, GM does not have a favorite kid. You get to decide where you buy. 0% financing, a great selection, and of course, great people. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Canadian Tire's Big Spring Tire Sale is back. Save up to 25% on quality tire brands including Continental, Michelin, Motomaster, and Pirelli until May 21st. Conditions apply. Details online.
My, this sushi is just exquisite.
And I am obsessed with these crab legs.
You must have spent the whole day in the kitchen preparing this feast for us. Or did I?
Entertain with unbelievable ease. The secret is catch of the week.
So you're telling me you were able to buy a ready-to-serve platter that is this fresh?
Catch of the week, Edmonton's best seafood. Just off the Henday in Capilano, only 5 minutes from Sherwood Park. Details and directions online at catchoftheweekedmonton.com.
Added to the
You're listening to Sports 1440 and watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Sports 24/7. We are Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 807 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne with you, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440. Text 833-401-1440. Bobby says the CFL is the Oprah Winfrey of all professional sports. You get a playoff spot, you get a playoff spot, you get a playoff spot. We'll discuss a little bit about this and the CFL draft with Dave Naylor coming up at 8:20. Oilers with a big victory last night, 4-1. And sometimes when you listen to coaches, players, post-game, it's all the same crap, blah, blah, blah. But last night I thought, Chris Knobloch was very astute with several areas that he talked about. One of them, the decision to switch lines because it was difficult. The only line they had going was Leon Draisaitl with Vasily Podkolzin and Kasperi Kapanen. The decision to go with Connor Ingram. So he addressed those and some other aspects yesterday following the Oilers' 4-1 win.
Chris, what did you like most about your first period there?
A lot of intensity. I thought we were skating really well. Maybe it wasn't perfect. Every pass wasn't on, but as long as you're moving your feet, it gives you an opportunity to catch a missed pass or get on the forecheck. So I like that we were skating, and I thought all four lines were going. So, and then probably the biggest thing was our second line. Nuge's line really got us going. Obviously, they get 2 goals, but I really thought that was the strong part of our game.
The Draisaitl line had been your best line so far in the series. You make the decision to split them up and put Connor and Leon together. Like, how much thought goes into that? And I imagine you don't take lightly splitting up a line that had been playing as well as they had been playing.
Yeah, no, it was a very difficult decision because, like you said, they were really good. They were our best line throughout the series, and whether it was defensive responsibilities or chipping in offensively, they were really good. I guess the one thing why we went to that was, I had a lot of confidence in Podkolzin and Nuge and Hyman playing together, very similar to last year in the playoffs where it was a Kane, Nuge, and Hyman in the playoffs, and they were a really good line for us. And unfortunately, we had to break them up when Hyman got hurt. Obviously, he's unavailable in the end of the series. But anyways, that's partially the reason why we went with that line, because I had a lot of confidence those three being able to play defensively strong, and whether it's against their other top lines or being able to chip in offensively.
Chris, just more on Podkolzin. Sometimes forwards move to different lines and they might not fit as well. What do you think of his ability to just always play the same way and a lot of times improve the line that he's on in any given game?
He improves every line he goes to, whether it's the first, second, third, or fourth line. He has always improved it, and a lot of it is just being able to play simple. Like he's a good player. He has good skills. You saw on his goal. He catches a knuckler pass, catches it, releases it right away, and puts it in a really small area. Obviously you see the physicality. He's responsible defensively. He brings everything. I think there's a lot of guys that fight to play with Podkolzin because of everything he brings. And, tonight he was good tonight also.
Chris, the second period hasn't been great for your team. How do you feel you handled how Anaheim, once they got a power play goal, what do you feel about the pushback from your team after that?
I thought we sat back. I thought we really sat back. And obviously that happens when a team's down, they push, they just spend more time in the offensive zone for the team that's down. It's just the way it is. But I certainly thought we sat back way too much. We just didn't connect. I thought we were too safe. We were just always putting the pucks, getting it out of trouble. But what happens is they just come back and attack right away, where we, instead of making some passes, and, there's a fine line of always, you don't want to always be safe. I thought in the last two periods, we were always being safe. And what happens is it just allows the other team to play with the puck.
So in the third period, especially because your team just seemed to want to just dump it out and dump it out and dump it out. As a coach, no coach that I know really coaching guys to just do that. So what's your message in the third as it's going on? Are you trying to encourage them? Guys, make plays. There was some openings for passes and they chose not to do it. Or what do you do as a coach in that moment?
Yeah, on the bench, obviously you're not going to drop new plays or tell them exactly what was available on that play because it had passed, and the chances of that happening again. Just on the bench, you're just trying to encourage them to make plays and tell them that it is there, and and not always forcing the safe play. So it's just reminders on they have the abilities, they have the talent that they can make those passes.
And you mentioned how you guys sat back a little bit in the last two periods there. What did you think of Connor Ingram kind of being that wall back there to help you guys along there?
Yeah, I thought he made a lot of good saves. He a lot of his talent is making hard saves look easy just because he's compact. He doesn't move very much. I thought there was a couple times where there were perimeter shots, but they were dangerous because they had really good net front, and you're not sure if the goalie's going to pick it up. I thought he was on his game because he was picking those up.
Chris, how difficult was it to make the decision to play Ingram tonight after he did not play game 4? Or was it easy considering he played most of the games down the stretch?
Yeah, no, he was our starter down the stretch. We had a lot of confidence, and maybe a little bit different if we played the Jari's game that he played in game 4. If we would have lost 1-0, that would have made it a little more difficult. But before the game, we discussed about when we're at our elimination game, most likely you're going to go back with your starter, the guy that's been carrying the load for the last few weeks. So, I thought it was an easier decision.
That's Chris Knobloch, head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. Discussion following last night's 4-1 victory to send this series back to Anaheim for a Game 6 tomorrow night. Rob texts in, "Hey guys, is Speck on this morning?" Unfortunately, he's traveling, Rob, but we'll get to Speck tomorrow morning ahead of game number 6. Schwackhammer texted in, our buddy down at EIA, Edmonton International Airport, and Schwackhammer says, "Morning, guys. We'll get to see the Oilers off today at 1 p.m. So that's when their flight leaves for Anaheim. And as for the CFL playoffs, Schwackhammer says, format needs a tweak, but this proposal is a bit far out, man. The earlier start is a plus. He likes that. I think it's going to be interesting, the early start and the playoff format and the CFL draft. We're going to talk all about that and much more with Dave Naylor. Maybe even a little Buffalo Bills and what he thought about the Bills NFL draft, because Dave obviously covers the Bills full time for TSN. That's straight ahead when we come back on the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne and Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We are streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Mr. Rooter sees a UFO.
Mr. Rooter says 1 plunge, 2. What's this? A UFO? An unidentified floating object. It's beginning to glow and levitate.
Thank you, Mr. Rooter. You have freed us from the gravity of the white hole. Humanity will be spared.
Wow! People aren't going to believe this when I put it in our new commercial.
If you want to believe in a plumber, call Mr. Rooter.
One app, triple the action. Play Alberta is proof that good things do come in threes. Whether you're into playing any of our exciting casino games, betting on your favorite professional sports teams from around the world, or buying into Canada's biggest lotteries, Play Alberta is the province's only app to do it all. Download today and discover a new way to play. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Home ice advantage is real at the rink and on your windows. Novo Blinds is Edmonton's own custom manufacturer, trusted by customers around the city. Factory direct pricing with the fastest turnaround around. Book a free in-home consultation at novoblinds.ca.
Do you have neck or back pain? Ever go for treatment hoping for a simple fix only to realize your stubborn spine is basically a science project with attitude? Hey, we get it. And honestly, we're a little sorry because great rehab does take proper experimenting. But at Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we don't just toss exercises into the beaker and hope it doesn't explode. We start with the right diagnosis, then mix hands-on care, precise manual therapy, and evidence-based technology. The formula your body actually needs. Science and skill with gratitude, not attitude. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Island Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada. Properties include the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility in Nisku, features 2 sheets of ice, a 1,600-seat arena, as well as Summit Restaurant. Learn more at silentice.com.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. The goal of every one of the thousands of hair restoration procedures I've performed is a full, natural-looking head of hair. I work directly with my patients for the consultation, the procedure, and the follow-up, so we can achieve the best results possible. When people see what we accomplish, I don't want them to think,
Wow, great hair transplant.
I want them to think,
Wow, great hair.
Go to drvanceelliott.com and contact us today.
In like a lion or like a lamb, out like a goat. That's greatest offer of all time with Sherwood Honda. While there's plenty of goats on the lot, you can also custom order yours. Pick your Honda model with the color, interior, trim, and technology for the ride you've always wanted. Sherwood Honda can help you build and price your new Honda to make it the greatest order of all time. Pre-ordering sure would be simple and satisfying with help from Sherwood Honda.
Stories, guests, and insights. This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 8:20 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick with you here on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch, and just awaiting the arrival of Dave Naylor from the CFL on TSN. David had a busy day yesterday breaking everything down as far as the CFL draft goes, but tons to talk to Dave about with earlier news from the CFL yesterday regarding a different playoff format and an earlier start to the CFL season. And one of the things that they want to try to do is to make it, a long weekend. The CFL is the long weekend. They want you to be invested in long weekends. And that is how games will be, I guess, scheduled in 2027. It's funny though, earlier in the year, the early part of the season, they would be going to Thursday games for many, many years now. I imagine that that's off the table now, because why do you want to have a game on the Thursday if you are pumping up to be, the long weekend league, if that's the terminology that they want to use? So something to discuss with Dave Naylor for sure. 833-401-1440. Matt and Leduc texted in. He says, the NHL used to let in 16 to 21 teams. International tournaments routinely involve all but 2 in the medal rounds. I responded, that's a long time ago, Matt, when they had 21 teams. And the international tournaments don't have an 18-game pre-medal round to determine 8 out of 10 teams moving forward. We'll get to more of your texts in a moment. Dave Naylor's with us now. Time now for the headliner of the day, brought to you by Mr. Rooter Plumbing. The only team you want in your corner when things get messy. For all your plumbing needs, go to mrrooter.ca as we welcome back Dave Naylor, CFL on TSN, to the show. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning.
Jumping on Sports 1440 once again. Really appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure. Good to be here.
Yeah. Hey, before we get to the draft, there's so much talk across the country, I think, regarding the announcement yesterday with the change of the playoff format and the earlier start. Let's get to the playoff format. Do you like the new concept of 8 out of 9 teams making the playoffs, Dave?
No. No, I don't. And this goes well beyond the CFL. I'm not an expansion of playoffs kind of guy in any sport. I still wish there were pennant races in baseball. I had somebody mentioning, when 16 out of 21 teams made the NHL playoffs, it really diminished my interest in hockey during the 1980s because I thought it kind of took away the meaningfulness of the regular season. And that's the concern I have about the CFL. And here's the difference, I think, between yesterday's announcement and what happened back in September when the league announced a bunch of changes to the rules and the field dimensions. I think those announcements in September were legitimately, whether you agree or disagree, I think in the eyes of the commissioner in the league office, they were to improve the game, to make a better game. That was you either agree with that or you don't. I don't think the format change is about in the playoffs is about necessarily an improvement over what we had. In fact, I would argue that it's pretty hard to make an argument that 8 out of 9 making the playoffs is an improvement over 6 out of 9. And I know there's some talking points and some people like it, and they can come up with some rationale for why this is going to be intriguing or better in some ways or whatever. But overall, I don't think it's an improvement. So why'd they do it? Well, what's the CFL been doing over the last 6 to 9 months? Negotiating its newest media deals. What would the value of those media deals be with 5 playoff games versus 9? Probably significantly different. And so, every commissioner has been hired to try and improve the bottom line of the Canadian Football League. And, some of the initiatives like CFL 2.0 and all the global stuff, I don't think brought an extra dollar. So, whether you like this or not, I think you probably understand that it's happening for the bottom line to make the game's business model better. And maybe that opens the door to expansion if you've got a better bottom line. I think that's what this is about. And, there's been so many ways. The CFL has had a forever challenge to try to raise revenue. It was a U.S. expansion 30 years ago and we're going to go global. And we're this. This is just another attempt to try to raise revenue. But at least this one's not theoretical. I'm pretty sure they know the number that this was worth to them. And they decided that, that was something they wanted to do.
It's a perfect example, Dave, of that, the phrase, the terminology, of follow the money. And I get it when you're going to have what you think more revenue generated by the extra playoff games. Do you think that the amount will make a difference in the coffers?
I'd have to see what the numbers are, and like, again, I know that playoff games obviously get more attention nationally. National sponsors like playoff games. They tend to do well on television. So, it's just more of what has value. I don't know what the number is. So it's hard to evaluate, whether this is because the counter is, but you devalue your regular season. You're going to play 18 games, to eliminate one team.
Yeah.
And really, it is kind of a play-in format. I think some people have suggested to me that the messaging could have been different. Or if you say, well, these other leagues have play-in, but they don't necessarily call that their playoff field. So, I think the obvious downside is and again, it opens the door to a 3-15 Grey Cup champion or 5-13 Grey Cup champion, right? Like that can happen now. And one of the things that the crossover rule was brought into was so that couldn't happen. And I certainly do not want to see that. So, I have a lot of sensitivity around this. I in terms of like what I think it means for the league. I think it really behooves the need for a 10th team. And, it sounds like fantasy, but maybe an 11th or 12th. If you had a 10 or 12 team league and had this format, okay, sure. You're not diminishing your regular season, which is, I think the obvious downside, with here. And so my bottom line, I guess, is I don't like it. I understand it. And if this is what we have to do to live with a healthier bottom line CFL that, might be able to attract new ownership and new teams someday, then okay, let's see where it goes.
You know, when you say that 10th team, Dave, I mean, that's been going back since Mark Cohen, and even before that, I don't even know.
The 80s, they awarded a conditional franchise, the Atlantic Schooners in 1984. This one, like I was in high school. Yeah.
So, I mean, let's worry about one, never mind a couple. But, I mean, I don't see it on the horizon. Do you?
Yeah, I wouldn't dismiss it. And I think if you listen to what the commissioner said on this, he's been very cautious. I think there was a lot of, they're not going to do what they did last time, right? Which was a lot of publicity, planting the flag out in Atlantic Canada and, trying to stir up interest and generate enthusiasm that way. I don't think that's not going to be the approach. I think if it's happening, I think it's probably happening very quietly below the surface. Because I think Stuart Johnston is probably sensitive to the idea that expectations were established for this, several times, most recently with Randy Ambrosie, and they didn't come to fruition. But I mean, if you listen to what he said, he said expansion is something he wants to pursue. And he's talked about expansion specifically within Canada. Well, that really can only mean two places, right? Atlantic Canada or Quebec City. And I wouldn't dismiss that is on Stuart's agenda.
I was at Touchdown Atlantic, Dave. I think you were too at 2010. I mean, that's 16 years ago and nothing's happened.
No.
And you just mentioned Quebec City. Is that a better option than Atlantic Canada?
Well, I think Quebec City is a better option than Atlantic Canada. And I'll give you a few reasons on this. And I know a bit about this because we did a project about 10 years ago at TSN called Why Not Canada, which was about the establishment of a seventh NHL team in Canada. There wasn't one in Winnipeg. And I did a pretty deep dive on sort of the demographics, business, population growth on potential NHL markets in Canada. And one of the things I learned was that Winnipeg and Quebec City, at least at that time 10 years ago, and I have no reason to think it's different now, are basically economic and demographic twins. If you look at their average income, their population growth, their employment rate, all those kind of things, Winnipeg and Quebec City are basically twins. So, okay, CFL seems to do pretty well in Winnipeg. I mean, the team made $12 million last year. I know that was the Grey Cup, but it seems to be a viable market for the CFL. And I get that Quebec City is different because you've got a college team there that's very, very popular. But football in Quebec is wildly popular. And Quebec continues to pump out players, and the potential of a rivalry with Montreal and what that may mean to the French language television deal. And okay, the counter to this, if somebody's listening, is going, yeah, you can't do it because you got Laval, right? Okay. Do you know how many home games the Laval Rouge et Or play every year? 4. 4, right? I looked this up last year, okay? Like between August the 21st and October the 22nd, they play 4 games. Now, there's some playoffs there potentially, but 4. Can you imagine if we said there was no CFL team in Winnipeg? None, okay? We say, hey, you know what? We should put a CFL team in Winnipeg. You can't do that. Why? The Manitoba Bisons play 4 times a year there. Yeah. Now, I know it's different, right? Because the Rouge et Or are a phenomenon. And they've been very popular and very successful. And you have the whole French-Canadian culture thing wrapped up into it. And it makes it unique. I understand you can't just transplant examples from outside Quebec into Quebec and vice versa, because there are some dynamics that are different. However, it wouldn't feel impossible that you could figure out a way to get the Rouge et Or on board with this and somehow have some kind of stadium share. And again, when you're playing 4 home games a year, I got to think there's room for another team.
Couple, yeah, you would think so. Dave Naylor with the CFL on TSN. Just before we get to the draft, so with the league starting on Memorial Day weekend in May, that means training camps would begin right around the start of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And we know how much already that the CFL gets gobbled up by the NHL and the Stanley Cup playoffs. What's the concern level for you there on that front?
Look, I'm going to stick my neck on this. I think interest in hockey is more regional than we give it recognition for. And by that, I mean, when the Edmonton Oilers are in the Stanley Cup final, Toronto is not glued to this. Okay. I mean, and I raised my family in Newmarket, Ontario 2 blocks from where Connor McDavid grew up. And even there, when they were in the Stanley Cup final, the town of Newmarket had this, hey, let's cheer McDavid on. We're going to put the game on a screen. And then I went down there. It was not like hell's a poppin'. It was kind of, and that's Connor McDavid's hometown. And they weren't even that excited about the Stanley Cup final. So what I'm saying is that, yes, if the Oilers are making a run to the Stanley Cup final and the Elks are playing in the background, that's not going to be good. Same thing with the Flames and the Stamps and anything else. But I don't think the country is gripped moment by moment by NHL, by Stanley Cup playoffs in a way that you can't run other entertainment against it. So I think it would be, if you get a Canadian team that goes on a run, that's not going to be good. But I don't believe that, the Stanley Cup playoffs are on, therefore you can't have a CFL season. No.
Dave Naylor with us from TSN. Before I ask you which teams won the draft last night, or, at the top of the list and on the bottom, what was your biggest takeaway from this CFL draft?
Well, I mean, the strange thing was it was a weird draft because we had, 8 players that had signed in the National Football League before we got started. And I don't know that that's a historic, it's certainly higher than last year. I think maybe we had 8 kind of before. And I think there were a lot, you had some really interesting players. Like you had, Calgary's first pick, Eric Rasko, is a guy, I met him at the CFL Combine, linebacker from Angelo State, their first pick, 6th overall. It was his first time in Canada, was attending the CFL Combine, but he's got a Canadian parent, right? And so, that's kind of I think the other thing about it was, dominated at the top by NCAA kids. And we knew that going in. I think 18 of the top 20 prospects were, NCAA kids. And even when you take out those that had signed in the NFL that either didn't get drafted or whose draft stock plummeted because they had NFL deals, you still have a pretty high concentration of NCAA guys. Like if I just go through it, BC Lions first pick, North Dakota, Calgary Stampeders first pick, Angelo State, Edmonton's first pick, Rutgers, Saskatchewan, Michigan State, Winnipeg, Wake Forest, Hamilton, Louisiana Tech, Montreal, Arkansas, Ottawa, Purdue. I'm going to say this. I'm going to bet, has there ever been a CFL draft where not a single team took its first pick from a Canadian school? 9 for 9 on NCAA.
Well, wouldn't be Queen's Nicholas Henning at 2, no?
Oh, sorry, Nicholas Henning. Sorry, yeah. Okay, there you go. Thank you for correcting me on that. I appreciate that. So 8 out of 9 are of the picks the teams are taking their first were NCAA kids, and that's been a trend for a while. And I think one of the things that's kind of changed that, even put a more emphasis in the NCAA, is now kids go to U Sport hoping to transfer to the NCAA, and there's a few kids in this draft that did that. Right, they started at U Sport, so that just, I think the sort of the flavor of the NCAA draft, I think, or the NCAA in this draft was very strong.
Even a guy I just sort of found out about who went 4th overall, Dave, to Winnipeg, and Newer Gatkuth. Yeah, he's from here. Yeah, he's from Edmonton, and he played at AOB at Archbishop O'Brien, and he played here before he transferred out to a prep school in Toronto.
It's and that's, I think you're seeing, it's a really interesting kind of what's happening with football in Canada right now, because it feels to me a little bit like what happened with basketball, 25 years ago. When, I think Kelly Olynyk is the only Canadian in the NBA of his generation who played all his high school basketball in Canada, right? The idea of getting to the US, and you've got a couple of programs that are, I've talked about this on the draft show last night. You've got a couple of programs in Ontario that have kind of focused on trying to raise the bar on football development within Canada. And one of them is the Football North program in Mississauga, where they run they run varsity, junior varsity, and freshman teams that play all U.S. schedules. I think there were, looking based on projections, there'll be 7 or 8 kids that have Football North in their background that were drafted last night. The other one is Gridiron Academy in Ottawa, which is a off-season development program run by a former Ottawa U player named Victor Todondo. They had 4 kids drafted last night, and 3 of the top 4, they had 3 kids drafted because nobody drafted Akeem Messidor. He's a Gridiron Academy kid. And the other 2, the 2 Louisville defensive linemen from Ottawa, Renee Conga and Wesley Bailey, who were both drafted last night, they're Gridiron Academy kids as well. So, those programs that are trying to elevate the development of players within Canada, so guys don't, have to go to the U.S. and relocate to get those opportunities. They really showed up in last night's draft.
I better correct myself. Austin O'Brien is where Gatruth went to. So last one for you, Dave. Winners, losers of the draft, in your opinion?
Look, I think it's a very, I'm going to kind of dodge your question. I think it's a very, very, very hard draft to project winners and losers, right off the bat. Just because of the number of question marks in a draft like this, the number of kids you're drafting that I flat out don't know very much about because I haven't seen them play. Yeah, I mean, I find the CFL draft very, very difficult to handicap. I'm not gonna.
They always are.
That.
They always are for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know that I could give you a winner or loser, the morning after a draft. I'd kind of have to do a deep dive and maybe kind of see what the vibes are at training camp on that kind of stuff. But I do like the Nicholas Henning pick that Toronto made, just because I think he's a kid who you talk about. He's probably not a threat to go to the NFL. He's going to be a mini camp.
Yeah.
And he's got a high side and he hasn't been playing offensive line that long. So, but those are really when you're evaluating the draft to a strong degree, you're looking at teams' first and second round picks and, trying to see, what are the high side kids that more about and what are they going to project?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Dave, in the sense with a lot of these players that are drafted, even getting invited to mini camps and like comments from Ed Hervey last night. Well, he could be here in a year, 2 or 3. Like it's impossible to get a gauge on that.
Well, that's and it's true, and that's the thing. You got teams rolling the dice on. Now there wasn't that much rolling the dice. Like you had Saskatchewan a few years ago that took Kyle Hergel pretty early, and like he's in the NFL still, right? And that was not a mystery when they did it. So teams will roll the dice. I'll tell you the one thing that is sometimes you're doing it for the next general manager. That's the problem. But when these guys do come back. Yeah, you look at it, there's a couple of kids, both Gridiron Academy kids from Ottawa, who are playing in the league this year, who've been in the NFL for 3 and 4 years. Luigi Villan spent 4 years in the NFL. Jonathan Sutherland spent 3. One's going to play with Ottawa this year, one that's going to play with Montreal. So, yeah, they were in the draft like 4 years ago, and people took a flyer on them. Well, guess what? Now they're 27, 28. They haven't played real football, meaningful football in like 3 or 4 years. They're healthy. And, there was a reason they were in the NFL because they're really, really good. So, if you do take a flyer on these guys and they come back in 3 or 4 years, like I say, might be for the next general manager. Might not be for you. But when they come back, they're great assets, for our league. And, those are a couple examples of guys that, teams took flyers on years ago that this time, they comes around, but you just got to wait on them.
Yeah. Carter O'Donnell here.
Yeah, there's another one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Dave, great stuff. Really appreciate all your insight on the CFL. We'll talk soon. Here we are, like OTAs in the NFL, and you'll be down in Buffalo before you know it. Thanks a lot, as always, for coming on. I appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure, Kevin. Thank you.
That's Dave Naylor, CFL on TSN, and obviously covers the Buffalo Bills, like a lot of the Buffalo Bills. Like, I mean, if you look at what Dave does over the course of, when he's covering football, in the summer and then into the fall, he's probably, I don't know if he's 50-50 on going down to Buffalo and then everything else with the CFL that he does. But I bet it's pretty damn close. The under 18 quarterfinal number 2 is just over. Sweden defeated Canada by a score of 4-2 in the quarter. So Sweden moves on. Canada is out. When we come back, we'll get to more of your text, 833-401-1440. Top of the hour, David Schlemko, our co-host for Cougar Paint and Collision on the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne and Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
At GS Construction, we're multitaskers. We've got lots of projects going on all around Edmonton and area. Different teams across the city working towards the same outcome. Installing today what will serve generations to come. It's a rewarding career and the work never stops. That's why GS Construction is always on the lookout for great people to join us. Right now, we're looking for experienced topmen, pipe layers, operators, and surveyors. So if you want to feel valued, empowered, and engaged in your work, visit gsconstruction.ca today.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Your protein drink should work as hard as you do. That's why Booster Juice is hitting the gym harder than ever, brother. Meet your new gym buddies, the Way Too Good and Green Gains Booster Mixers. 2 new ripped and refreshing menu options that bench some serious protein. Perfect for pre or post-workout. Way Too Good and Green Gains Booster Mixers taste like motivation. So what are you waiting for? Let's go!
Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Struggling to find skilled workers? What if you could fill your talent pipeline with motivated, pre-vetted youth and receive funding to support your efforts? At Careers the Next Generation, we connect Alberta employers with interns in skilled trades, IT, agriculture, forestry, and more. All WCB covered, high school accredited, safety trained, and ready to contribute from day one. With 83% of RAP students continuing their apprenticeships after high school, investing in youth today means securing your workforce for tomorrow. Don't wait. Visit careersnextgen.ca to get started.
It's time to hit the greens. Elevate your golf game with Country Club Tour Golf Academy. No matter your experience, our PGA of Canada teaching pros are here to help. Enjoy lessons year-round between our 7 CCT golf courses and 2 state-of-the-art indoor facilities. Choose the location convenient for you. We offer private lessons, group lessons, expert club fittings, and junior camps. Visit our website to learn more and get ready to take your game to the next level. Booking is easy. Go to countryclubtour.com/golf academy and schedule your lesson today.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and I want to give you something for free. A free roof assessment on your used RV. And remember, basically every RV is a used RV.
What do I get for my free roof assessment, Rick?
Well, Bob, we're going to climb up on top of your RV and take a good detailed look at your roof. Check all the joints, connections, and seals. Then we'll give you a written report so you know exactly what's going on up there. You should do this at least twice a year.
You were just doing this out of the goodness of your heart, Rick?
Cards on the table, Bob. About 1 in 10 RVs we see have something wrong with the roof. If yours is one of them, then yes, we're going to offer to sell you a repair. But we'd rather do a small repair when your leak is small than sell you a big, expensive repair when it's so bad you can see it from the inside. And you don't have to accept our offer to fix it. It really is free either way. So come by No Bull RV and know for sure.
And that's No Bull. NoBullRV.ca.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 847. In Edmonton, Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne with you, along with Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM Radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. I saw Cam Tate in the press box going into at the very beginning, probably around 7:45, Duke, yesterday. And he goes, what did you think of the 8 questions yesterday? I said, well, first of all, I started listening, and on question 8, I said 5 seconds later, you were on question 3. And he goes, yeah, pretty quick, he kind of said. So I said, when you get your one in for today, I said, you can make it longer than 35 seconds. So I don't know how long this one is, but here's another edition of Cam and Eggs.
Ham and eggs order 17. And he's here. Oh my goodness gracious. Billy Shakes, the Sports 1440 resident poet, with a verse about the Oilers' big, and I mean good game 5. Sir Billy?
That's a valiant flea that dare eat his breakfast on the lip of a lion. Henry V, Act 3, Scene 7. Hark! Thy hero last night was my new best friend, Lord Connor Ingram, who bears number 39 for thy Edmonton Oilers.
Thanks there, Billy. A lot of things went right for the Oilers last night to win 4-1 over the Ducks. And those things are not done by hydraulic cables, or a power takeoff on a John Green, or, in this day of age, an AI thingy-wingy. The Oilers themselves had several people step up their games, and as the old saying goes, in playoffs, it all comes down to goaltending. And by golly, Bob, that's exactly what the Oilers for Tuesday night. Don't be surprised if Bill Shakes knights Connor Ingram, because he gave everything and more, even if he had a mere 2 shots in the first period. Head coach Chris Knobloch started Ingram in Game 5, and the goaltender showed confidence and control under pressure. Ingram stopped 29 of 30 shots, posting a .967 save percentage as Edmonton faced elimination. Ingram made key saves during pivotal moments, with the crowd responding to his steady performance. Several key right pad saves. Edmonton's defense established early control and helped the team build a 3-goal lead for Ingram. Anaheim increased its offensive pressure in the second period, but Ingram stayed composed and managed high-danger opportunities, limiting the Ducks to 1 goal. Edmonton travels to Anaheim for Game 6 tomorrow night. The Oilers trail 3-2 in the series, but their Game 5 win has shifted the momentum. Eggs all around now for Connor Ingram. Cammed Eggs with Cam Tate. Weekday morning, Sports 1440.
Oh, Duke, you kind of dumped out there before the final egg crack.
That's where it ended. I don't know what to tell you.
Taylor put that last egg crack in, and it never got to the pan.
Half crack.
Yeah. It would have been like a soft-boiled egg crack.
Half cracked. That's a pretty good way to just describe Cam Tate.
The soft-boiled egg crack. Do you ever have the soft-boiled eggs, Duke?
Have I had them? Yes.
Yeah,
Do I seek them out or prepare myself? No.
Because they have to be cooked just the right amount of time.
Yeah, they're pretty particular.
And you have the egg holder, right? Is that how you would do it? Is that how you did it?
I suppose so.
On the farm? No, like just a little plastic or glass egg holder.
Yeah, I know my grandma at the farm had egg holders.
Sure they did.
I'm trying to remember if I actually ever ate one out of it or not. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because you would try to crack it to get just the top part off, right? So you had the white, and then the yolk would all be in the bottom part in the egg holder.
Yeah.
And that's if you wanted to dip a little toast in there.
Sure.
Something like that. Oh, I could use one of those right now.
You hungry, Kev?
Yeah. Haven't had any eggs for a while.
Not have breakfast this morning?
No, I had my normal standard Laura Baker muffin. Got about 2 dozen of them in the freezer, Duke, for the month of May.
I had to enjoy some cookies last night during the third period.
Really?
Dipping them in some milk, yeah.
What kind? Like the Oreos?
No. I'd mentioned this before. I'd bought some just like frozen cookie dough as a fundraiser for my buddy's kid. And so I've just kind of been slowly baking a dozen of those at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a whole 2 packs of it. There's a lot of them in each one. So these were oatmeal chocolate chip, which I really like.
Wow.
Dipping them, you re-nuke them so they're still nice and soft. Just warm them up, get a little meltiness, and then get a nice cold glass of milk to dip. Perfect.
Good for you. Skim milk?
No, come on, Kevin. What are you talking about? 325, man.
All right. Oh, that's just too much cream.
It's rich.
Oh, come on now.
The only way.
David Schlumko coming up at the top of the hour. One area where the Oilers really dominated the Anaheim Ducks last night was in the faceoff circle. There wasn't an Oiler that took faceoffs last night that was under 50%. Leon Draisaitl was 7-7, took 14 draws, took the most draws out of anyone, but he was 7-7 for 50%. Connor McDavid was 7-2. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 5-3. Josh Szymanski was 4-2. I think maybe some people saw the video of Leon and Szymanski working at some face-offs the other day in the morning skate. Jack Roslovic was 6-5. Jason Dickinson 4-1, and Curtis Lazar 6-4. Now, the guy that takes the most face-offs, well, normally, like, Washy's been taking a lot of draws for Anaheim. That changed a little bit yesterday, where he only took 12. Mikael Granlund took 18, and Ryan Poehling took 17. But Poehling and Granlund had tougher nights in the face-off dot. And when you talk about the line matchups that we saw yesterday and how lines played against each other and how lines performed, this was the first game where the Granlund line with Seneca and Alex Killorn, even though the Killorn, he got the power play goal, that line had a tougher goal last night. Like, Killorn was -2, Seneca was -3, and Granlund, Mikael Granlund was -1. So that second line of the Ducks had a bit of a tougher goal yesterday against the Oilers. We'll see what the matchups are going to be and how the lines are going to be put together from the Oilers standpoint. I mean, I would imagine the Ducks are going to go with the same. I imagine the Oilers are going to go with about the same. You know who I saw in the press box yesterday, Duke? Radko Gudas. Yeah, he was sitting with there's about 7 or 8 of them up there, and he didn't look too happy.
Did you chat with him?
No.
Go over and just you know what his nickname is?
Radman.
No,
I don't know.
No, that's what the nickname you would give him.
Yeah.
The Butcher.
I was gonna say, you know what? I work with this guy named the Duke of Delburne, and he's the biggest Ducks fan.
I wouldn't have happened. He'd have been like, I don't care.
Coming up at the top of the hour, David Schlemko, our co-host for Cougar Paint and Collision. But before that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you are thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly at 780-265-0165. That's 780-265-0165. Here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Edmonton Oilers win last night 4-1 over the Ducks to stave off elimination and draw their best-of-7 series, now trailing 3-2. Game 6 goes tomorrow night from Anaheim. Around the rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs, yesterday, the Boston Bruins also avoid elimination with a 2-1 overtime win over the Sabres. David Pastrnak netting the game winner there. And Minnesota doubling up on Dallas 4-2 to take a 3-2 series lead. Chance to close it out back home in Minneapolis. From the World Championship U18s this morning, Canada falling to Sweden 4-2 in quarterfinal action. Currently, Latvia leads the United States 1-0. Slovakia and Denmark are still to come. And earlier on, Czechia defeated Finland 2-1. BCHL playoffs coming to a close for the Sherwood Park Crusaders last night as they fall to Brooks 6-1 down in southern Alberta. Brooks takes the best-of-7, 4-3. And in the association playoffs, Boston coming up short against the Sixers. 33 points from Joel Embiid keeps Philly's season alive. They trail Boston now 3-2 in the series after a 113-97 win. The Knicks beat the Hawks 126-97 to take a 3-2 series lead. And San Antonio finishes off the Trailblazers. A 114-95 victory that gives them a 4-1 series win. In the majors yesterday, Trey Savage, first start of the season, and it's a good one. He goes 5 2/3 on road to a 3-0 Blue Jays victory. Around the rest of the majors, plenty of games, including Tampa Bay blanking Cleveland 1-0. Baltimore gets past Houston 5-3. Seattle comes back against Minnesota 7-1, and the Yankees, they beat Texas 3-2. CFL Canadian Draft went last night, and the Edmonton Elks made 9 picks overall, including number 3, where they took linebacker Daryl Jabomi out of Rutgers. Coming up in hour 3 of the Kevin Karius Show, we'll be joined by Michael Tracos from the Hockey News, as well as our Wednesday co-host, former NHL defenseman David Schlemko. I'm Brandon Douglas, Sticker Sports 1440 Update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Mr. Rooter sees a UFO.
Mr. Rooter says 1 plunge, 2. What's this? A UFO? An unidentified floating object. It's beginning to glow and levitate.
Thank you, Mr. Rooter. You have freed us from the gravity of the white hole. Humanity will be spared.
Wow! People aren't going to believe this when I put it in our new commercial.
If you want to believe in a plumber, call Mr. Rooter.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
Good to go. With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. Mortgagestogo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say, good, I'm good to go.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Summer, it's coming. An unstoppable force that will turn your home into the Sweatbox.
Don't live in a summer blockbuster. Pro Solutions is your one-call-solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. With fast appointments and flexible financing, we'll make sure your home story has a comfortable ending. AC season is coming soon, so book today.
Lock in pre-season pricing today.
Visit prosolutionsinc.ca to schedule your service today.
It's playoff time, and we've got a lot to talk about. This is Andrew Walker on Edmonton Sports Leader, Sports 1440. Tune in after every Edmonton playoff game for the Legacy Heating and Cooling postgame show. Visit the experts at legacyheating.ca.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the two best names in the boots business.
Start thinking spring road trips and off-road trips in your new Subaru Crosstrek. Stylish, rugged, and so many features. Standard on every Crosstrek. Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive, EyeSight driver assist technology, heated seats, and LED steering responsive headlights. Plus, with interest rates from 0.99%, you'll love the affordable weekly payments. No waiting, immediate delivery available. Subaru Crosstrek. Visit Subaru.ca. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru.
Just in time for the morning skate. This is the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 9:02 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick with you here on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. 9 o'clock on a Wednesday. That means our co-host, David Schlemko, has joined us. And Schlemmer's powered by Cougar Paint and Collision. Cougar Paint and Collision, where family, service, and pride have earned customer trust for decades. Check them out at cougarcollision.com as we welcome in David Schlemko. Now, man, oh man, Schlemmer, I don't know what to tell you. You came in and you gave us the news of what happened with you at the Alzheimer's tournament. You got to tell our listeners, because this is something else, man.
All right, let's tell it again.
Yeah.
Tough break this weekend at the Alzheimer's Pro-Am tourney. A great charity tournament for a good cause this weekend. So I love being a part of that. And first game of the tourney, Saturday, first shift of the third period. Just taking a rush and went to pivot and lost an edge and went flying into the post pretty good. Went for an x-ray and I got a broken rib.
A broken rib. So you went to the room, you sort of gutted it out a little bit, or what? Did it feel like you just got winded, or what?
It felt like someone swung a baseball bat into my ribs. Honestly, it felt awful. So I knew I was kind of hurt. You know when you get hit and you're like, oh no, I'm hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So it was one of those. I went into the room and saw the medic or whatever, and they're like, well, you better go get an x-ray. And of course it's Saturday. So
how long did that take?
I was like, I'm not going to the hospital. I'm not doing it. It's probably not broken, whatever. I'll go see my doctor. So I went to the doctor Saturday. I got the requisition, waited till Monday, got the x-ray, and then it was broken.
So you didn't play anymore?
No, on the shelf now. I mean, more importantly, on the shelf for golf.
Golf season's
is really tough.
How long? What did they say?
6 weeks.
6 weeks. Now, like for a broken rib, it's not like you can put a cast on like it's your wrist or arm.
No,
So
you just gotta let her heal.
Yeah.
So I've been sleeping upright.
So sitting down in a chair kind of thing,
Well, luckily we just got a new bed a couple of months ago with the incline recline. So wow, that was great timing.
Oh man. Well, that's just again, because now, as you said, you hadn't golfed since you were down in the States.
Yeah.
And everyone's now golfing this week with the courses reopening.
Yeah.
And you're going to be
should be an exciting time.
So you'll be watching golf
I will.
into June.
Yeah. Tough break, man. Tough break.
I hope it was the opposition goalpost.
No, it was mine.
So you were rushing the puck going the other way?
No, I was coming towards my net,
Yeah.
right? So I was just backing in and went to pivot as the guy came wide. It was Belsey.
What? Belsey was coming at you?
Yeah, he's just coming wide. So I just go to
Probably
turn.
tripped you.
No, I can't even claim that. It's just lost an edge, untouched.
What did your goalie say?
Are you okay?
Oh man, Schlemmer. I mean, I would have liked to see this at the alumni game with you and Duke as D partners.
Oh, yeah. That would have been good in that game. Would have saved me a couple dashes.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh man. Well, at least you came in today. Holy smokes.
Yeah. Warrior,
Just an absolute warrior. Yeah.
Thought I could come sit on a stool and run my mouth for a couple hours.
I mean, Connor and Leon can't walk. Dickinson can't walk, but Schlemmer made it in, boys. Made her in.
True pro.
Yeah. Oh, so, well, I guess you've been watching hockey.
I've been watching hockey.
Being laid up.
Yeah. What did we think last night?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as I said yesterday, this team, you could not go out like that. Like that's what they call a gentleman's sweep. And you could have said that, really, to be honest with you, game one, they scored with 2 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, game four could have gone either way.
Yeah.
And that's an overtime game. Never mind the goal, whatever. But I mean, they're up 3-2. It's 3-3. Who knows? This series could be 3-2 Oilers. It could be 3-2 Ducks.
Yeah.
So, what did you make of how they, the start was great last night with getting the 3 goals.
Again.
Yeah. Well, but the third one.
Yeah, no, you're right. Huge to get that third one. Loved that. But why we still cannot seem to impose our will on this Ducks team for a full 60.
So you're saying like when it's 3-0, get that next one and keep pressuring. Don't sit back. is what
Right?
you're
Like
saying.
just like take some of their will away. Like
Mhm.
put a message in their head of like, okay, now like we've awakened them. Like
Mhm.
they're coming. Like they got outshot like 24-8 the last 2 periods.
Yeah.
That's not Anaheim going back being like, oh, we gotta change something. They're just like, we gotta keep doing what we're doing. We're gonna win this series.
So yes, the shots were tilted, especially in the third period. Did they give up, the Oilers? I know they sat back. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
And they were just flipping pucks out. And then I think the last 5 minutes, and people are talking about ice time and Connor and Leon. The last 5-6 minutes was different because Anaheim pulled the goalie really late, or sorry, really
early.
So 5 minutes or so
Yeah.
ballpark left.
And I kind of agree with what I think it was BX has said on the broadcast after too. Is like, even though Connor played 24 minutes, it's not like a really mentally draining 24 minutes where you got to bear down every play, every shift. It's not like you're still going to do that, but you know what I mean? It's not taking as much out of you when you're playing with a 3-goal lead.
Well, and then even like as soon as that too many men on the ice penalty with over 2 minutes left, I mean, they're just out there passing it around. That's
Right.
as easy 2 minutes as you're going to play.
Right.
You
I
might
thought
be
they did a really good job there for that minute
Sure.
too, snapping it around.
And again, even when they're back in their own zone, guys are floating around. They're not doing anything.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you in the sense that a lot of those minutes weren't that taxing.
Yeah, they weren't heavy minutes.
Yeah, they weren't that taxing. Let's start on defense here, and let's just run down. Like, I mean, Evan Bouchard was phenomenal.
It's
last night.
unbelievable last night.
Unbelievable game. So that first pass on the put Coles in goal.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a perfect angle of it in the press box.
Perfect sauce, like perfect delay, like waits the exact right amount of time. It's a hell of a pickup and release by Podsy too. All in
Just
one
as good
motion.
like probably better than the pass.
Yeah.
Because he's got to corral it. For like, when you're watching from the press box, you didn't see like the amount of sauce that was on the pass.
Till the slow motion replay. I agree.
Yeah. Is that what you saw? Too?
Yeah. I didn't really realize how good the pass was until the slow motion
And
replay.
it's through a couple sticks
Yeah.
but for put Coles and to get it away as quick as he did and pick that spot, man, oh man. But that was just the first for Bouchard. Even the second goal on the Leon or his second assist on the Leon tip.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a great look. But I mean, he does that all the time, right? Like it's nice to see him get some love on the broadcast for just like all the little plays he's making. I don't know if that was because of the coffee thing at the start, but like it wasn't just last night. Like he does those things all the time, right? He's so good at just popping it to the center, waiting for F1 to swing away and finding a guy underneath. Like he does so many little things that a lot of people don't notice.
And there were so many little passes that people didn't notice, like just to get out of your own end.
Right.
He
He doesn't usually get love for the passing part of his game either, right?
Yeah. But he was great. And then the third goal, I mean, I think most people, they're hard skip to beat at the blue line.
Oh, mine did.
There you go.
Because he's not afraid to do it, and it will go the other way sometimes.
Yeah.
Like who was it? Paling. He cheated. He cheated for the breakaway.
Sure he did.
As soon as he saw him, like he kind of bobbled it a little. As soon as he bobbled it a little, he cheated for the breakaway. It was close.
So as a D man, run us through. I mean, I can't imagine how quick things were happening.
Yeah.
Especially when you're on the blue line. And I mean, how many times when we play the beer league hockey, last man back, you hear it from everyone, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like for me, even like the most skilled defenseman, usually when Bush has that puck at the blue line, they're still for safety going to like backhand that behind him and like make sure it gets deep. That takes a lot of balls to like hang on to that puck as the guy's trying to strip you from behind and go on a breakaway.
Would it be that he had confidence with his body position?
Yeah, like it looked to me like he almost used his stick to kind of like protect it from Paling's stick before he picks up the puck. He kind of like swats his stick away and then grabs the puck.
And maybe it's a power play goal, and maybe he's thinking, okay, I'm not under that much as much duress as it would be 5-on-5, but still, it's as you said, it's ballsy.
That's just his game, man.
He's confident, man.
Like how many guys do that? Like he's like one of one in the NHL that's gonna try that consistently.
Yeah. I thought Connor Murphy was really good last night breaking up plays.
Me too.
Even like, he took that one and he went to the dressing room when he broke up the one play. He was looking at his hand.
Yeah.
And that was
a little scary.
Yeah. It was because it didn't look like much.
No, it just looked like he got like maybe kicked or slid over a little.
I
I
thought
don't know.
too, like I was thinking, like, because we didn't see a really good replay on it, but was it more of a something other than the puck or a stick?
It was
the
a
foot.
It was a foot of
Okay,
someone.
so
It looked
that's
like kind of like the front of their blade.
So you thought maybe it was a cut or something?
I thought that's what it was because he took his glove off, looking at his hand coming off the ice.
So we didn't see that as much,
Okay.
on a replay. And I mean, there's things going up there, and you don't have the audio, obviously. So
Right.
and it's a different. Sometimes you're looking at the replay on the jumbotron, and it doesn't show you what the TV replay is, obviously. So that one was a little scary. And then even on the goal, I mean, you can't defend that goal better. And that's Mason McTavish. He's a centering pass.
Yeah.
And another breakup by Murphy.
Yeah. I mean, I think Murph has done such a good job of just settling the entire decor, right? I mean, it was a bit of a mess before he came in, moving a lot of things around, couldn't seem to find a fit anywhere. And it's like, as soon as this guy came in, everyone kind of found their hole, found their niche. And, like, I know Murph personally, so I know what he's like off the ice as well. And I'm sure that's made a huge difference too, right? Like, his dad was an NHLer. This guy is a consummate pro. He's always in the gym. He's taking care of himself. He's doing all the things he needs to do to make sure he's going to be at his best.
David Schlemko with us, Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick in the Sports 1440 studios here at West Edmonton Mall. So, again, you have the luxury of knowing him and playing with him in Arizona, I guess, at the time. So when you see that back then, and now, I mean, he's probably, since you played with him, I don't know, what's he played, 700 games? I don't know.
At least, probably.
Whatever it is. But he's still the same guy as far as making sure that, I guess, everyone is accountable. That's what I'm getting from him.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the right way to look at it and how he's playing.
Yeah.
But
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
But he seems to do it with his game, like on the ice as well. But I'm just saying, like, I'm guessing that he does it off the ice too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not in the room, but I mean, he was a very mature kid for his age. So I imagine he's a very good leader now.
He had that one, there was a dump in, and like a lot of, okay, should I go? Should I not go? He went, he went in. It wasn't like it was sustained pressure or anything, but he was like, yeah, no, we got, I'm confident that the guys behind me are going to fill the hole.
Looks confident in his game right now.
And it's brought the best out of Darnell here. And Darnell was really good last night.
Yeah. I think that's been just as good as how well Murph has played. He's really, really stabilized Darnell, and he's playing great.
When a team sits back like that, especially in the third, like, again, that 3-1 goal by Killorn was answered. The biggest goal of the game was the 4-1 goal.
I was going to say, that was huge, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, because that was the one where, okay, you said, we're snuffing out the Ducks. We're snuffing whatever you think that you're going to do again here. Because you've been doing it.
They have been doing it.
You've been doing it. So that was massive.
Almost like a here we go again. It was a terrible penalty by Doc too.
Yes, on the hit. Yes, the late hit. Interference, I think they called it. I can't remember, but yeah, you're right. And that allowed them some life. And then it's funny when you mentioned Doc, he had a chance in the third period to line up a guy, and he did, but he wasn't.
He made sure he didn't take one. He like held on to him.
Just, okay, I'm going to go in just nice and easier.
Yeah, and same thing in the third period there. There's a little scrum in front of the Oilers net, and he was very tame compared to what he'd usually be doing. I don't know if you guys could see that at the game, but they showed on the broadcast, Leon just having a little chat with him on the bench there.
Yeah.
Not sure what he said.
Yeah, exactly. Our buddy Kenny texting, if you talk about goal 4, you got to mention the penalty call on the Ducks. That was awful. Well, but the standard was set here, man, Kenneth. The standard was set on calls on Hyman, on Leon. That standard was set earlier.
I'm trying to remember the call he's talking about.
It was Trouba on Savoy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
so just, and Savoy kind of, I'm not saying he toe picked, but he was sort of going down earlier.
That's what I was just going to say. Like, I think it was a penalty, but you could have also called both there.
Well, they called it an embellishment earlier. I don't know if I would have called it an embellishment, but I maybe not would have called a penalty. Having said that, like the Hyman one, and then they called the embellishment.
Yeah.
And Leon got one. You know, that's the standard that was set.
All right.
So
that's fair.
When we come back, Michael Trakos from the Hockey News. He'll check in, talk a little NHL around the league, because we got two more great games tonight. The playoff hockey's been exceptional. Again, save for, a couple series where they, ended in 4 straight sweeps, 4 games, the Colorado series and then Carolina. But Michael Trakos with us, Kevin Karius, David Schlemko, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
At Cougar Paint and Collision, their family-first approach makes you feel like part of the clan.
We care about the shop because it's our name on the sign. And when you own a business, that is so important to remember that everyone you're dealing with is a human being, and they're going through something, whether you see it or not. What will make people choose you is how they feel when they leave your shop. People need to feel important. They need to feel heard. I think that sets us apart. It's really, really important.
Cougar Paint and Collision, our family helping your family.
Today on Hey Culligan, how smart is your water? Here's Tracy.
Hey Culligan, I think my water might be dumb.
Good news, Tracy. Your water's not dumb. It's just not talking to you.
You can make my water talk.
No, but the new Culligan Smart Drinking Water System can talk to your phone to tell you when your water filters need changing and help you meet drinking water goals.
Now that's some brilliant H2O.
You said it, Tracy, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at culligan.ca.
Hey there, I'm in the Fountain Tire sidecar, making a list of the things I'm doing this spring. 1. Saving you money, with up to 20% off select tires until June 13th. 2. Water skiing, tricky in a sidecar, but fun. And 3. Saving you more money, with mail-in rebates of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires and $50 off a $150 service with the purchase of 4 select tires. Oh, that's 4 things. Oh well, restrictions apply. Book online at fountaintire.com. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Do you work for a company that wants to reach people who love sports? Or maybe you're looking to hire people who love sports. Sports 1440 partners with dozens of local businesses, connecting with tens of thousands of Edmonton sports fans every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. Contact our sales team today to see what Sports 1440 can do for you. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca to get started.
It's playoff time on Edmonton Sports Leader, Sports 1440. This is Andrew Walker. Join us for the Titan Supply pregame show before each Edmonton playoff game. Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products.
Nothing beats getting a deal at McDonald's. Why? Because you get a deal now.
And a deal later.
Redeem an offer from the latest mailer or on the McDonald's app and dig into instant savings. Plus, you earn points towards
free McDonald's.
Now that's what I call
a double whammy of deals.
Why does that keep happening? Deals sent right to your door. Check your mailbox for the latest McDonald's mailer loaded with delicious value for a limited time at participating restaurants in Western Canada.
Don't let equipment failure stop you cold. At AWS Welding in Nisku, our factory-trained service techs are on hand for all welding equipment repairs. We're a fully warranted center for Miller, Lincoln, and ESAB. And we service all makes and models. Proper, regular service extends the life of your gear and keeps it running at peak capacity. Don't wait for a breakdown. Book your service appointment today at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
Stories, guests, and insights. This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 922 in Edmonton. Mark Spector not with us in the air on the way to Anaheim. So time now for On the Trach, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. The playoff push is here. But in April at Northgate, there's no pressure, no giveaways, no phony prizes, just good old-fashioned deals. See more at northgategm.com as we welcome in Michael Trachos on the Trach from the Hockey News. Good morning, Michael. You're with Kevin Karius. David Schlemko, the former NHLer. How do you like the new segment name here, big guy?
I like it. I was going to go with Trach it or leave it, but
that's better. That's better.
I am a writer, though, guys. So
I
that's
just
why.
came up with that, man. I don't know. Yeah. Trach it or leave it. Well, how about on the extra we use trach it or leave it? How's that sound?
Okay, fair enough. How you boys doing today? Probably a little better today than you were after game 4 there, right?
Well, at games 3 and 4, because we were even talking about it on Monday when we came in here, after the Friday show, and then you had the performance Friday night in Anaheim, which wasn't very good by the Oilers. They kind of got run out of the rink, and then that sort of was overshadowed, just the fact on the Sunday loss, because now it's 3-1, and everyone, that was more pressure in their minds. But yes, it's a little different feeling. Did you get some eyeballs on the game last night, Michael? What'd you think?
I did. I watched most of it. It's tough when you're in the East, and the struggle is real, Kevin. But a much better performance from Edmonton, and I'll preface this by saying that this is a really good Anaheim team, and I'm sure you guys have both said that already. Just much respect to the Ducks. I think Edmonton fans might have been spoiled a bit by getting LA in the first round year after year after year, because Anaheim is just a totally different opponent. Like, this is going to be, whether they go deep this year or not, this is going to be a team that in the coming years is going to be a handful for most teams in the West. So I thought Edmonton brought it. I love the drama of will he or will he not play in regards to Connor McDavid. And then you see Leon Draisaitl just put up a 2 spot. So, this is the kind of performance that the Edmonton Oilers needed, and we'll see if they can do it again.
Well, here's one just on Anaheim for you, Michael, because we see them out here all the time, and you just mentioned it. It's tough for the Eastern guys to watch these late games. We knew all about the Ducks. Do you think that they were getting the respect over the course of the season, maybe from Eastern reporters, Eastern guys that cover the NHL, as opposed to what they've seen them in the playoffs? Because they got a lot of young guys that are really good, man.
Yeah, I think a lot of us were waiting for the other shoe to drop, in the same way that, San Jose was coming on strong at times last year. And then at the end of the year, they just weren't able to kind of keep that momentum going. I think a lot of us were looking at the Ducks in kind of a similar fashion. Like, you see Cutter Gauthier, you see Beckett Seneca, you see Leo Carlson, and you're like, okay, these guys are fantastic, but they're young. And, David, you know it as much as anyone. Like, the trajectory of a young player is not always a straight line. There are dips in the road. So, I was looking for those growing pains, and, I think it's a testament to how Anaheim built their roster. It's not just young guys. They do have that veteran core as well to kind of help smooth things over. And when you've got Q behind the bench, it's just a perfect formula. So, we saw it coming. Maybe we did underestimate a little bit, just in terms of, were they going to be the team in the first round that is able to kind of keep going, or were they going to kind of shrink because it was their first time for a lot of these guys?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more there. I think everyone is just kind of waiting for them to fall off, maybe learn their lesson in the first round, but they don't seem scared at all. I want to jump over to the mini Dallas series. I know that one's starting a little bit late for you too if you're out east, but mini, I mean, they look great 5-on-5. They're absolutely dominating out there. Do you like their chances of closing out Dallas here?
I kind of do. When we say close out, I still think it's going to go 7. I think that one's destined for game 7. I do think the Edmonton Anaheim is going game 7. And I was just in Montreal covering a couple games there with the Habs and the Lightning, and I think that one's going game 7. So we've had a couple series go quick. I think we're going to get a couple series go the distance, but back to Minnie and Dallas, it's been a nice back and forth battle. And I love what Bill Guerin has been able to build there with the Wild. Obviously Quinn Hughes has just been fantastic. And then, you look at Matt Boldy, who I really think he had his coming out party at the Olympics, playing on a line with Austin Matthews, scored a huge goal in the gold medal final. And again, pains me to kind of bring up the gold medal final again, because that was just, it's still fresh in my mind, guys. But, when all is said and done, I think it's going 7, and I got the Wild taking it in 7.
Wow. As you said, you've been really up close and personal to the Montreal Tampa series. In all the years you've covered Stanley Cup playoffs, Michael, where do you rank this one after 4 games here?
Oh, this one is as good as I've covered in terms of first round matchups, and it's tough. We say this all the time. We've said it for the last month. It's a travesty that Minnesota and Dallas are playing in the first round. Well, I'd argue that it's a travesty that we're getting Tampa and Montreal in the first round, because you look at where those two teams finished, and again, those were two of the better teams in the NHL all season, and it's been great to watch. That Montreal team is just so good and so fast, so skilled. We haven't even really seen Demidov really break out in the series, and Montreal still hanging in there with the Bolts team that, they're getting a little older, but they're still just as dangerous as they were when they were winning back-to-back cups. So I love this one. I really think it's kind of becoming a coaching battle. When you look at how the matchups have gone, Kucherov has been kind of dancing around, playing on one top line, playing on a different line. The Cirelli matchup with the Suzuki line has been great to see. Oftentimes Cirelli's going out there, taking a face off, and then he's scooting off the ice, and they're getting other players on there. So my only gripe with that series, guys, is it's kind of opposite to what we saw last night in Edmonton, which is I wish the refs would put away the whistles. There were something like 17 minor infractions called in game 4 of the Montreal Tampa series. That's 17 minor penalties, and only I think 2 or 3 were roughing penalties. So all stick infractions. I get it. You want to penalize players if they're high sticking or hooking, especially if it's a scoring chance. But I think it's just getting a little out of hand there, and we're not really seeing enough 5-on-5 play, and then we're not seeing the players kind of decide things for themselves.
Mhm.
So kind of opposite than what we saw last night, where you're going, all right, how is that not a penalty where Leon Draisaitl just gets caved in from behind? Well, the opposite. You breathe on a guy in Tampa, Montreal, and you're going to the box.
Wow.
Well, I guess. Well, what type of game do you see playing out tonight? Then it does seem like a little bit by design that Tampa's tried to kind of drag the Habs into the trenches to get back into this series. Do you think that there's more of a focus just on the hockey as the games and every shift gets more important?
Probably not. Tampa Bay had just a ridiculous amount of penalties in the regular season, and they've continued that trend in the playoffs. And I think it is by design. We talk a lot about Florida Panthers and Florida Panther hockey and what that means, and it's tough and it's dirty at times. Well, Tampa Bay plays that to a T. I don't know what's going on in the state of Florida, but they're both two of the nastiest teams in the NHL right now, and I think that's the way John Cooper wants it. Brandon Hagel is, he's a shift disturber, and he's a guy that just is trying to needle you every chance he gets. He is Brad Marchand, except 2.0. And, he's scoring goals, which is hurting you as much as he is with his, with his chirps and just with his stick and whatever else he's doing out there. So, I don't expect Tampa Bay to change. If anything, I think they're going to lean hard into this, and hopefully, if you're John Cooper, this kind of takes some of the Montreal guys off their game.
Any chance that the Lightning could get Victor Hedman back here, Michael? Because, with basically a best of 3, he could be the guy that tilts this towards Tampa's favor. And quite Hedman, to be honest.
Yeah, it's funny. He's been skating, and he traveled to Montreal with the team, and I asked Coop about Hedman and would we actually see him later in the series, and he really kind of threw some cold water on that one, saying, no, it's probably not going to happen in first round. And, maybe that's coaching gamesmanship. But, Hedman has been battling one thing or another all year. Obviously, he was banged up going into the Olympics and then coming out of the Olympics, and then left the team with personal reasons. So we don't exactly know what the injury is, or if it's more physical, or if it's seeped into between the years. But I'd be doubtful if we see Hedman. They've almost kind of gone to the point now where they're learning how to live without him. And we saw the hit the other night by Crozier on Montreal Slavkovsky. That's a guy that probably wouldn't be playing if Hedman is healthy. We've seen the elevation and development of a guy like Darren Radish. Again, I don't think he's playing power play 1 unit if Hedman's healthy. So, with one guy going down, we're seeing some really good performances from some unlikely sources on the back end of Tampa. But, I'd be surprised if we see Victor Hedman in round 1. It looks like it's going to be a second round or even beyond kind of scenario for him.
How about out east? Got to admit, this is probably the series that I've seen the least of, but a big win for Boston last night. What do you think of their chances of making a comeback here?
I don't know about that one. I think it was great that they got the win. A real close game. Obviously, it goes to overtime. But for me, Buffalo's still been the better team, every single game. And, I'd be shocked if Boston was able to kind of claw back. Now, I say this as a guy who lives in Toronto and has covered Boston-Toronto series where a 3-1 lead means diddly squat. Hopefully Buffalo has learned from what's been going on down the highway from Leaf fans and how the Leafs play. But, that is a really good Buffalo team. They're well coached. They've got so many guys that just play a great kind of playoff style, whether it's Josh Doan, whether it's Alex Tuck. I really like their game. Good on Boston for kind of making it sort of a series now. And, it is a series. It's 3-2, but I'm expecting Buffalo to take this.
Michael Tracus from the Hockey News, our guest, Kevin Karius, David Schlemko with you here on Sports 1440. Yeah, being a Toronto guy, any update regarding what's happening with the Leafs here? Michael, in the sense, maybe a little more traction with Matt Sundin surfacing in some position?
Yeah, a very odd kind of scenario with how they're treating their GM and / president of hockey search. It sounds like it, if you're listening to all the insiders, that they're days away, if not hours away, from announcing that it's going to be a combination of Matt Sundin with former Coyotes GM John Chayka running the show. It sort of raises a bit of eyebrows. Like Matt Sundin, while he's been retired from the game, he's been hanging around ranks, but, he hasn't had a management role. This isn't like a Chris Pronger where Sundin has been spending time in the league and then also helping out individual teams. This would be his literally first foray in a management role. And obviously we know what John Chayka's resume looks like. It's the Coyotes, and that one didn't end well. He ended up getting, dinged by the league for some things that he did with the bringing in players who are draft eligible for personal, training physical sessions, and, ended up losing a draft pick out of it. So, this is sort of the route that the Leafs wanted to go. They wanted to get one guy who is a data-driven guy and pair him with someone who is more of a front-facing person. And Matt Sundin, obviously, in Toronto, this guy is king. I think he's going to be a perfect fit in terms of being able to talk to fans, be able to talk to reporters, as well as the board of directors. And if Chayka can kind of just hunker down with his calculator and spreadsheets, it might work. But I'm just surprised that a team as big as the Leafs, and it's been said before, like, why aren't they going big game hunting? Why aren't they trying to drag someone who's already an accomplished GM to the job, a la like when they brought in Brendan Shanahan and Mike Babcock and then Lou Lamoriello, and convinced Mark Hunter to come from junior to the Leafs as well. That was literally going, okay, who's the best at every position? All right, we're going to give them top dollar. Seems like a lot of things have changed, and top dollar is not top dollar anymore in Toronto.
Schlemmer, you're having a little chuckle here over Chayka, or what?
Oh, not that. Just the calculator and spreadsheet joke I thought was pretty funny. Just every team's got one of those guys, man. You can pick them out. Like if you're down on the event level and the management's walking around, you can pick out the salary cap guy in half a second.
Yeah, I ride with a lot of them in the elevator. You're right. You're like former player. All right. You must be an analytics guy.
Yeah. Well, that's been Take It or Leave It. You can't get a better title than that. Hey, thanks, Michael, for coming on. Enjoy the games tonight. That Pittsburgh-Philadelphia series, man, that's been fun to watch too, especially with the comeback. So enjoy tonight. The rest of the first round, I'm sure we'll talk to you as the playoffs progress. Thanks as always for coming along.
Awesome, guys. Have a great day too. Okay.
That's Michael Tragos from the Hockey News. Take it or leave it. Specs out. Michael Tragos is in. Brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. This truck's for you. Check them out at northgategm.com. Yeah. Oh, so you got a kick. I thought I was trying to pencil things together with Chaka in Arizona.
Oh, right. You know what? I think I was gone when he was there.
So I was trying to do quick math. And, he. Oh, come on, Duke. Listen, Duke. My math is getting better as I'm getting older. I think it is. I had the square footage out yesterday because I'm starting to think about, it's time fertilizer, on the lawn.
Yeah, it's getting to be that time.
I'll tell you what, and I was looking at the bag yesterday, and the amount of, you got to be Matt Damon from Good Will Hunting to figure it out. I mean,
it should be an in or out question.
It should be. Because sometimes, then it's meters squared and this and that, and you got to try to convert.
You're preaching to the choir, Kevin.
Right,
it would be when we're filling the sprayer.
Yeah.
I'm talking the industrial size weed sprayer for the farm. You're doing quarter sections at a time, and you're each jug is only a few gallons essentially, really, and you're trying to figure out how many to pour into this 100-gallon barrel that's up on the side of the sprayer, and the units of measure on all these are in hectares and stuff, and none of them are in acres or anything. And my dad's just figure this out for me. I'm not dealing with it. And you get the calculator up for some conversion stuff and all that. It does seem complicated.
It does. And then
or not seem complicated. It is complicated.
It is, milliliters, and then, tablespoons, teaspoons, just for even little, for watering your plants.
Yeah.
Just stop it. I want to have, the packet goes in here. And that's it.
Pour this packet in this much water. Spray liberally,
and that's it. Well, there was there's a show on TV. It's called Mayday.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've ever come across it.
No,
it's a show about plane crashes. And there was a plane crash, and it ended up crashing in Gimli, Manitoba, and it was a flight from, I believe, Montreal, and because it ran out of fuel because they thought they put gallons in, but they put liters in.
Oh, jeez.
So instead of 100 gallons, they put 100 liters. And they're wondering why it ran out of fuel. And then they found out that the guy on the ground that was running the fuel truck put liters instead of gallons.
Whoops.
Yeah. I'd like to see you, Duke, fill in that sprayer and all that. You wear your mask, Duke?
Who's listening?
OSHA,
is OSHA listening? Because in that case, yeah, of course. I got hit right in the face by a full jet stream of fluid out of the bottom of the sprayer. It's already been mixed chemical wise. Because this was another genius idea at Douglas Farms. We were trying to fill a little backpack sprayer just to do some stuff around the yard, and it's rather than mix it up and just put a splash of the actual farm chemical into this bag, we just detached the main line from the bottom of the sprayer that goes out to the booms and tried to fill this 10-liter backpack sprayer, and it's splashing up in the air. And then my sister's instinct at that point was to turn the hose upright and just blast me right in the face with it. That was a trip to the hospital for a sit down at the eye wash station. They basically put contact lenses that have nipples on them essentially, because then they attach the IV, the drip to that, and you sit there with your head back in the sink for 2 hours and let it drip this whole fluid through, and it's just coming out the side of your face down into the sink. That wasn't and turns out when it's something like that, they put you through emergency pretty quickly.
Oh yeah.
It'd take me a while to forgive my sister for that one, I think.
Well, this is the same sister that ran me over with a quad when I was essentially a toddler still. My sisters have tried to drown me in a feeder. So listen, some things I deserved, and it was kind of asking for, like the cattle prod incidents and stuff like that. But some were just genuine accidents.
Duke, you're a farm accident waiting to happen.
Forget waiting to happen, Kevin. The
post
the
pounder?
post pounder, my finger, the fact it's still in my hand is a miracle. That was all self-induced. No one's to blame there except me.
Jesus, you're a mess, Duke.
So why do you think I'm working in radio now? My life expectancy was not looking very good for a good stretch.
Oh, let's see what this fertilizer tastes like. I might as well just spray it. I'll drink some of it. It'll go in my eyes, up my nose, the whole bit. When we come back, we're going to go in or out with David Schlemko on the Kevin Carey Show, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. I've got some good news. If you've been thinking about a heavy-duty truck, the 2026 Ram 2500 Black Express is now at St. Albert Dodge. You've got 20-inch black aluminum wheels, black Mopar side steps, body color, bumpers and grille, and a sport performance hood. Available in all the colors for $68,990. Plus, new this year, Ram's best-in-class 10-year powertrain warranty. Now's the time. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Summer, it's coming. An unstoppable force that will turn your home into the Sweatbox.
Don't live in a summer blockbuster. Pro Solutions is your one-call solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. With fast appointments and flexible financing, we'll make sure your home story has a comfortable ending. AC season is coming soon, so book today.
Lock in pre-season pricing today.
Visit prosolutionsinc.ca to schedule your service today.
Your protein drink should work as hard as you do. That's why Booster Juice is hitting the gym harder than ever, brother. Meet your new gym buddies, the Way Too Good and Green Gains Booster Mixers. 2 new ripped and refreshing menu options that bench some serious protein. Perfect for pre or post workout. Way Too Good and Green Gains Booster Mixers taste like motivation. So what are you waiting for? Let's go!
Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
As we all try to figure out when winter will actually stop and spring will finally be here for the season, GS Construction moves ahead with their plans for the year. From planning and digging to laying out underground infrastructure, construction season is limited, so we make every day count. And that's why GS Construction counts on our team to get the job done right. Crews are getting back in action across the city, and we'd like you to join us. We're looking for experienced top men, pipe layers, operators, and surveyors. For more, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Summit Restaurant, located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
It's playoff time on Edmonton Sports Leader, Sports 1440. This is Andrew Walker. Join us for the Titan Supply pregame show before each Edmonton playoff game. Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products.
Sherwood Honda is home of the GOAT. That's your greatest offer all time. And they have plenty of pre-owned GOATs that they got on a trade. Every used vehicle they sell goes through a 182-point inspection and comes with a vehicle history report. Because peace of mind is an essential part of getting your GOAT. And Sherwood Honda sure would want you to buy with complete confidence.
I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. The goal of every one of the thousands of hair restoration procedures I've performed is a full, natural-looking head of hair. I work directly with my patients for the consultation, the procedure, and the follow-up, so we can achieve the best results possible. When people see what we accomplish, I don't want them to think, "Wow, great hair transplant." I want them to think,
"Wow, great hair."
Go to drvanceelliott.com and contact us today.
Sports 1440.
All sports,
all day.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Thanks for listening to Edmonton's Sports Leader.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 9:47 in Edmonton. Man, we just got a whole tray of sandwiches from Gary when I said I hadn't had any eggs for a while. So he comes in with 4 of these sandwiches. They're triple deckers, eggs, bacon, ham. I wolfed down my half. I gave half to Schlemmer.
Unbelievable.
Josh is having his whole, he's not even talking now. Duke's getting ready. But Gary, send us a text in because we got to thank you, big guy. And man, that was unbelievable.
You can't pack much more into that sandwich.
Also, and then we got it. Yeah, no, they're like triple deckers. And then Ryan from Denny's, who's brought stuff in many times for us on Wednesdays.
Unbelievable.
He said, I'll bring some in tomorrow. Well, maybe Friday because Eddie will be here and Eddie will be all so hungry, right? How about, you know what? I saw SKS.
Yeah, spare some poor 7-Eleven microwave later Friday afternoon. Feed Eddie in the morning so he doesn't need to warm up his tuna.
Oh, you heard all that, Schlemmer?
Tuna?
Okay. So,
Eddie goes into gas stations, doesn't buy anything, and just reheats his fish in the microwave and then leaves.
Oh,
isn't that embarrassing?
That is like, I don't know. I don't think that's acceptable.
Yeah, so he'll just go wherever. Yeah, he's been doing it for years. So he'll go wherever. And I said, well, do you buy a water? Well, sometimes I'll get a coffee or something. Like, but he'll go there. And no matter what it is, he'll just put his stuff in the microwave, heat it up, and then just leave.
I just walk out.
Yeah.
Power move.
Well, as I said, what are they going to say, Duke? Well, we don't have to say it. Hey, the rig even said, Duke, with all your stuff. I'm surprised, Duke, we've never seen you in a War Amps commercial. It's true. Like, I mean, you see all the kids in
Fair
that's Duke. Imitation Tom is a full-time pesticide applicator. I don't know a single person who wears a mask. There you go. IMAC here, and he's talking about that flight. I believe that pilot was military. Remember, there was a strip at Gimli. And if not, if he didn't know about that airstrip, they're landing wherever, man.
Crazy.
Yeah. Time now for Are You In or Out? Brought to you by Pro Solutions. If you need fast air conditioning service, Pro Solutions offers expert repairs, tune-ups, installs with flexible financing. Book your appointment now at prosolutionsinc.ca.
Okay, you know what? Moving too fast. Bottom line, are you in or you out?
In or out of what?
No time for questions, just action. In or out?
Well, then I'm out.
I'm sorry, Jet. Actually, you're already in.
Are you in or are you out?
On Sports 1440.
I thought you would go, I'm in, Bob. We would have had a really cool moment, but you kind of ruined the whole thing.
All right, Duke, let her buck.
Edmonton Oilers staving off elimination last night with a 4-1 win, brings the series now to 3-2 against their favor. Series will shift back to Anaheim for Game 6 tomorrow night. Nearly all of the team's top dogs showed up in a big way, none more so than defenseman Evan Bouchard, who was the best player in last night's hockey game.
Oh, yeah. I think we're both in, probably, Schlemmer.
Yeah, got to be in on that one. And while we're talking about D-men, though, I got to give Duke a shout out because I remember earlier in the year when Lacombe signed that big deal. I said, that's the same as Hughes got. You think he's as good as Hughes? And you said, yeah. And I wasn't so sure, but he definitely is. I think he's been the best player in the series.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
I'm in on Bouchard last night.
Well, I said to Duke yesterday, I said, it's too stupid and early to talk Conn Smythe. Wait, you don't do that till the second round at the end. But, Hagel's got 6 goals. I said, is Jackson Lacombe second?
I think he's been the best player in the series by far. He's been great.
But to your question, Duke, Evan Bouchard was fabulous last night again. The 3 assists, and where that puts him again, it ties him with Bobby Orr for the 3rd most 3-assist playoff performances. Bobby Orr, it's his 5th. Bobby Orr had 5. Evan Bouchard's got 5 right now. The 3 assists tied him with Paul Coffey last night for the most postseason assists by an Oilers defenseman in franchise history.
Wow.
He's going to probably double that.
Yeah.
When it's all said and done. 27 minutes, 3 helpers. Erased so many guys. Like that one that you're talking about, I think it was a 4-on-4, was it not?
A nice hit, too.
Yeah, and when he leveled Seneca.
Yeah. doing it all.
And the offensive plays, like the 3 assists in particular, I think the first and the third ones really jump out at you. Is the pass to Pod Coles and then the maneuvering at the blue line. Yeah, it's risky, but that's the Evan Bouchard story, right? The risk reward is always there. But yeah, I just thought the defensive play, and you guys touched on it, so I don't need to dive into the specifics, but that really stood out to me last night, because even the past 2 games where he'd had a couple points per night, you look at it and say, all right, looks like, that confidence with the puck is starting to come back a little bit more, and his touches are all there. But the defense side of the game was still lacking at times, and him and Ekholm got victimized pretty good back on Friday night in that loss. Last night, he brought the whole package. And I'll be honest, I still think Matthias Ekholm is struggling in this series a little bit overall, especially with the speed of what the Ducks bring from a forward group. But Bouchard made up for it and then some with his effort across the ice last night. So really, really good performance. Not to knock what guys like Murphy and Nurse and, of course, McDavid, Bouchard, RNH gets on the board with a few points last night. But, yeah, Bouchard stood out quite a bit.
When you mention Ekholm, when VL hit him sort of from behind there.
Sort of. That was so dirty.
Okay. Yeah. So he gets 2 minutes, but Ekholm was down for a long time.
Yeah.
And he got walked a little bit later after that. I was wondering maybe he just wasn't altogether there, man.
Well, that didn't help. I really hated that hit. That was super dirty. That's crossing the line of just being a piece of trash player. That I didn't like Doc's hit on Killorn either. So
yeah, and that was like Murphy made a really good defensive play, and it was Terry that went around Matthias Ekholm. And it wasn't too long after.
Oh, that one he got walked.
He walked
outside in there. Yeah, he got absolutely walked.
So I just thought like maybe there was something wrong with Matthias there. And we saw that
a little bit.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
After the team regained their 4-1 lead, or 3-goal lead, the 4-1 lead on the power play last night, the team's kind of going to autopilot for the second half of the game. And it was a solid defensive effort. They kept a lot of the stuff to the outside, did a much better job at the net front, keeping loose sticks away from the pucks. And a few of them more bounces kind of seemed to go Edmonton's way last night than the previous games of the series. I do really think there was a lot to like, or wasn't a lot to like, about the Oilers game in the final 30 minutes of regulation.
Go ahead, Schlemmer, if you want to.
Yeah, I'm in with you on this one, Duke. And like I get it in the third period. You're up 3 goals. You're gonna sit back a little. You're trying not to give up any transition. Like I get that, but once it was 4-1, like I'd like to see the Oilers just kind of put them away. Like impose your will on them. You're at home, like. Plant a seed of doubt in their minds. Like I don't think they did that last night.
Again, that 4-1 goal was the biggest goal of the game, and it wasn't too long after that where Kreider hits Leon from behind. That should have been a penalty, so they would have gone on the power play again, which would have snuffed out some of the Ducks' momentum too.
Yeah,
and maybe you score again. Now it's 5-1. Maybe then it's totally different how we're talking about this. But but no, you're right. I mean, the shots were 24-8 in the last 2 periods. So,
and you touched on this earlier, Schlemmer, as well, and that's all I could kind of think in the third period. And I didn't really think that because the Oilers were playing a pretty good version of defense, even if it was a very sitting back rendition of it. Like I didn't really think the Ducks had much of a chance to come back in the game at that point. But it like you kind of want to see them to lay the boots to them a little bit and with some authority, because you are the team that got kicked around a little bit in the past couple games, and you're the team that's been in the Stanley Cup final the past 2 seasons in a row. You say, all right, we're back in this series now. Let's try and take the life out of them and sow a little bit of seed of doubt into their mind as they return to home ice, which kind of goes into my next point on the Ducks side of the coin. They played well enough in the game's final 42 minutes. Even at the end of the first, they had a nice little push. Ingram made a really good save. I think it was on Carlson, that they don't have any seed of doubt creeping in, despite the loss to a team that has come back in several series over each of the, during this core of the Edmonton Oilers group.
Yeah, I couldn't be more in. I don't think they feel any pressure at all, man. They're the young team. They're playing with house money. They're just going after it, having fun. I don't think they have like any doubt creeping in at all. They're not expected to win.
Go ahead, Duke. Sorry, I was taking care of some.
He's texting. Kevin's not a walk and chew gum at the same time kind of guy.
Well, we've talked about it quite a bit, and
for sure. So. It's the thing you said, Schlemmer, is somewhere like they don't feel any pressure, and that was my main point coming into this series. Not not many people gave Anaheim much of a chance with the full, they recognize this is a team with a lot of good young players. They'll play fast, but they don't know how to play defense. All these things. It's kind of just found money to be in this first round against a team like the Oilers who looked pretty good down the stretch, and the Ducks were the opposite. They looked terrible down the stretch. That's kind of just, I think, carrying over here. And so there's not any lineup changes going to be expected for Anaheim because the only guy that is maybe ready to draw in is Ross Johnston. He's his fourth line player. The fourth line has been maybe the team's best over 4 games. So you're probably not pulling anybody out. So I think you're just running it back. You get Dostal back in after an early night last night, and hope that the home ice advantage kind of goes your way a little bit, maybe from a matchup perspective or anywhere else.
So the other thing too here, Duke, I want to see how Dostal rebounds here. Does he have what it takes? I mean, so he got chased and a couple goals through the legs, and he had the bad clearing pass.
Didn't look sharp. Way too much overhandling the puck, or he'd almost had one bite him before the one that actually ended up did on the Hyman goal. So
does he have a shorter leash? I mean, I don't know. I mean, to me, he's your guy. I mean, he is your guy, and Huso was, he made some saves last night too when he came in.
Yeah.
And then no chance, obviously, on the one that gets past him on the Leon one-sider, because it turns into a 5-on-3 with the Gamble Paling takes up at the blue line on Bouchard. So Huso was good in relief. Gave them, if they had any chance to win, he gave them it. But I would expect Dostal, of course, to be back in the crease for tomorrow night. And it's a very good storyline to follow on, Kevin, is how does he bounce back? Because 2 straight games letting in the first shot of the game. He's done that more than any goalie in the NHL this year. That was his 12th or 13th time total. 12th, the 11th was on Sunday. So it's going to be a big sticking point because he played well even if he was letting in 3 or 4 goals a game prior to that. 3 games in the playoffs tonight, each with a lot on the line. A couple series currently tied, and the one I'm pegging, if you only can pick one to watch, the Vegas, Utah, Tampa, and Montreal series have been excellent. Maybe the 2 best in the playoffs overall, but you can't beat an elimination game. Give me Flyers, give me Penguins. Game 6 from South Philly.
Oh, they're all going to be so good tonight. That's probably the last one I pick, honestly. The other series have been so good. I got to pick the Montreal Tampa, man. Yeah. It's been too good. It's got everything. You got skill, you got the emotion, the fighting, every game's got OT. How do you beat that?
You know what? I just have to say the Penguins Philly game because I got all Penguins and all the so that's the only reason. But for sure, it's the Tampa Montreal game. That's been the best series of all 8 to start. But for me, I have to say Pittsburgh because I need
you got to keep her going here.
Yeah, I need them all. Like I need all in both the drafts, Duke, that we went in. The fantasy frenzy one, and then the one we were at with the Babber at Boston Pizza. I went, Pittsburgh guys. So
they better win then. Well, how many you got? Like all the top guys?
No, that was a different draft. Well, in the fantasy frenzy, every box that was Pittsburgh, I picked.
Oh wow!
And even like Stu Skinner, which is irrelevant now.
Didn't even play last.
Well, I think I took Mackenzie Blackwood because there was no Wedgwood option. So I kind of thought, hey, maybe we will still see him at some point during these playoffs. But he's been a big nothing burger for my pool as well. And it's funny. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was a week ago today that we were looking at the series that were starting to tilt in one direction, and we said, hey, do you have to pick the Penguins as a team that can make a comeback here because of their experience and the Flyers' inexperience for the most part? And credit to the Penguins. They've done that, winning a couple straight. Now, the biggest test of all, going into that raucous barn in Philadelphia and winning a road game to force a Game 7. This is almost the opposite of what I was just talking about with Anaheim and Edmonton. I think there is absolutely some seeds of doubt in the mind of the Flyers here going into tonight's game on home ice.
Yeah, agreed.
So we'll see how they can respond and if Rick Tocchet has the right strings to pull to get his team into the second round. Finally, Jerry Seinfeld, the icon of comedy TV, turning 72 years old today. That's crazy. That's old, Shocked me. We talk lots about Seinfeld on the show, best episodes, underrated episodes. For his character specifically, which a lot of people say is actually the worst character on the show.
Sure it is.
Jerry's character, best episode of the sitcom's run. I'm taking The Cafe with Babu.
Because he's the most prevalent, you're saying.
I just think it's funny, the interactions, and then Elaine's coming in and Jerry's trying to fix Babu's restaurant for him, telling him how to do it as if he has any idea. ends up with them out of business and on and on and on. So I don't know. That one stands out to me.
To your question though, it's there are so many other episodes that are probably better than that, but they are starring the other three.
But yeah,
characters more.
Jerry's role in them isn't
Diminished,
what make
yeah.
it great necessarily. He's obviously forward. He's the lead character of the show.
I might as well just sit this one out and let you two argue back and forth for the next 10 minutes.
I'm gonna go out Duke. I don't know. The one, I think it's the Kenny Rogers roaster when he imitates,
when he becomes Kramer
and impersonates Kramer. Like to me, that is just well, my friend Bob Sacramento, So I think I'll go with that one. But there's so many. I mean,
and it's tough to pull them apart because more often than not, all four set main characters have their own storyline in every episode, which is insane for a sitcom. It's only 22 minutes long.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so I did a quick Google search of a list, and there's some other ones like the pony remark in the early going when his great aunt or whatever dies after talking about who would want a pony, and the voice, the soup Nazi one, of course, the keys, and the rye when he steals the bread from the old lady on the street, robs her blind, calls her an old hag.
Bag. Old bag.
Oh yeah, shut up, you old bag, and runs away with the bread. So
like Ovaltine, Round Team.
Yeah, anything with the other comics, whether it be Banya or the guy that wants to share the cab with him back and forth across the city. Yeah. So listen, I don't know if there's any bad episodes, period. But
how about Marty St. Louis the other day?
Yeah, good point.
Did you hear that?
No.
They said, well, how do you unwind after a game? Well, I watched a couple episodes of Seinfeld all the time.
Did he?
Yeah.
That's great.
And then it's a show about nothing. Oh, man. Good stuff, Duke. That's In or Out, brought to you by Pro Solutions. If you need flexible financing on your air conditioning service, check them out at prosolutionsinc.ca. Got to thank Gary from the Sandwich Hut again. So he brought in a bunch of these massive egg and bacon sandwiches. I gunned mine down. I know you're looking at your half there, Slimmer.
I'm looking at it.
You're just waiting for the commercial break.
Yeah.
You're just waiting.
That's a good breakfast sandwich.
Yeah.
That's legit.
Gary from the Sandwich Hut brought her in. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate it, man. When we come back, we'll have a quick little segment before we get to Jordan Hall from NBC Sports, and we'll preview the Flyers and Penguins game number 6 tonight. Before that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by All-Star Construction. They shape and build Edmonton communities, specializing in underground utilities like power, gas, telecommunications, and street lighting. That's All-Star Construction. Here is the Duke.
The Sports 1440 update.
Three-game slate in the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. The Lightning back at home taking on the Canadiens in Game 5. That series not at a 2. Puck drop just after 5 o'clock. At 5:30, the Penguins try to stay alive again and force a Game 7 when they visit the Flyers in Philadelphia, down 3-2 in the series. And the Nightcap starting just after 8. Vegas Golden Knights, Utah Mammoth go at it from Sin City. That series also tied at 2 games apiece. U18 World Championship quarterfinal action this morning. Canada falling to Sweden 4-2 to be eliminated. Other finals to report on: Czechia beating Finland 2-1. The Latvians currently lead USA 2-1, and still to come, the host nation Slovakia will take on Denmark. In the association tonight, Orlando Magic 8 seed on the brink of eliminating top seeded Detroit. They lead the series 3-1. That'll tip off 5 o'clock from Michigan. Toronto Raptors swing game in Cleveland after battling back and tying the series at 2 games apiece. That tipping off from 5:30. And then Houston also looking to avoid elimination, down 3-1 when they visit the Lakers in Los Angeles. Toronto Tempo, expansion team in the WNBA, going to tip off their first ever taste of WNBA preseason action tonight, taking on the Connecticut Sun. And in the majors, full slate of games again today. Rubber match between the Red Sox and Blue Jays from Toronto. First pitch just after 1 o'clock. It'll be Eric Lauer on the hill going up against Brian Bello for Boston. Coming up in hour 4 of the Kevin Karius Show, we'll be joined by Jordan Hall from NBC Sports in Philadelphia covering the Flyers. I'm Brandon Douglas, Citrus Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Looking for a solid 4x4 that checks all the boxes? The 2026 Jeep Compass is in stock now at St. Albert Dodge, and this is a great value, starting from just $36,900. It's a Jeep, so you've got 4x4 capability, plus features like an 8.4-inch touchscreen, Apple CarPlay, active lane management, a Park View rear backup camera, and more. Over 30 in stock right now in just about every color you'd want. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Great news for your weekend project. CFI, that's Custom Floors Inc., is now open 6 days a week with Saturday hours from 10 till 2. Get top quality Canadian products from Beaulieu with the convenience you need. For your free estimate, visit CFI at CustomFloorsInc.ca.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440. From the local rinks to homes and businesses across the province, Alberta's rural natural gas utilities are here to fuel life affordably, reliably, and safely. We're members of the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops, providing natural gas to keep our rural neighborhoods warm and connected every day. It's local, dependable, and it's ours. To learn more about the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops and our members, and how natural gas fuels your community, visit fedgas.com. Alberta's energy. Game on.
My go-to move for getting out of the doghouse is catch of the week. Forget flowers. I head there, and the staff points me to the perfect fish and tells me how to cook it. It's easier than you think. Last week, I made an incredible salmon dinner. My wife was so impressed, she forgot why she was mad. It's my secret weapon. It works every time. They're just 5 minutes from Sherwood Park, but it's worth the drive from anywhere. Stop thinking about dinner and just go to Catch of the Week.
Make sure to visit catchoftheweekedmonton.com.
The Kevin Karius Show, breaking down Edmonton's favorite teams, even though his favorite Junior A hockey team is the Yorkton Terriers. Thanks for checking in with Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 1010 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, David Schlemko, Duke of Delburne, and Josh Fenwick here in our Sports 1440 studios at West Edmonton Mall. David Schlemko is powered by Cougar Paint and Collision, where family service and pride have earned customer trust for decades. Check them out at cougarcollision.com. Frank Zaravelli posting that the 2026 Vezina Trophy finalists have been named by NHL general managers. I don't get this one. Don't understand it. One of them.
Okay.
Andrei Vasilevsky. Top of the heap here.
This generation's Carey Price.
Yeah. Ilya Sorokin, I get where they're coming from with the amount of quality chances that he stops and his save percentage is good and everything. Didn't make the playoffs. Okay.
Right.
Get it?
Yep.
So to be honest with you, I'm on the fence with him.
Yeah.
Vasilevsky to me is the guy that's there. The third pick or nominee, I guess, finalist, Jeremy Swayman. Now, I'm not understanding how Jeremy Swayman is in this group of three. Duke, you can do a dive. Schlemmer, you can do a dive. You can talk about stats, wins.
Okay. It's got to be numbers, I guess.
I get it. So Vasilevsky's head and shoulders, he's the winner here in my mind.
Okay.
The guys, like the lumberyard guys in Colorado almost cannibalize each other. between Wedgwood and Blackwood.
Right.
They're outstanding.
Yep.
But you can't pick two of them. And
You're not
pick
going to
one.
win the Vezina splitting your net.
So,
yeah.
When you think about goal, like to me, it's goals against and wins are pretty weighted heavily for me. So you got a guy like, Vasilevsky's got 39 wins and his goals against is 2.31, save percentage 912. To me, he's the hands down winner. Shesterkin's down. He's at 250. He's got 25 wins. Sorry, not 25 wins. Where am I at, Duke? Now I lost him. Sorokin, pardon me. He's got 29 wins. So I just confused the two of them there.
So I guess my question would be, who should be in there then?
So for me, you got to be heavily weighted in games played. You got to be weighted in wins.
Playoffs help.
Well, no, because it's regular season, right?
Well, I mean,
making the playoffs.
The playoffs. Yeah.
So, I mean, like Dan Vladar is in the conversation. His goals against is 242. He's started 51 games, got 29 wins.
How many games did Wallstedt start? Did he just
not enough?
He didn't get enough.
Not enough.
Okay.
Like a guy Jake Ottinger, his numbers are better and more wins than Swayman.
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Wallstedt had 18 wins, started 33 games, so not enough.
Yeah, no, that's not enough.
Not enough.
So the GMs picked this.
The GMs picked this.
Huh.
So the one to me that is like, if you want to take Swayman, so Jeremy Swayman, 271 goals against, 31 wins. His save percentage 908. So the only reason that I can see that like a guy like Karel Vejmelka didn't make the cut because his goals against is the same, basically. But his save percentage is 897.
To me, it's hard to win a Vezina with a save percentage under 9, right? Maybe that's like the old school in me. I know they've gone down a little bit, but
he's got 38 wins.
It's a lot of wins.
So that's, but I don't know, Duke, is there someone other than Swayman that you think should be in this group?
Well, that's almost the argument in and of itself is
Ottinger?
who are you replacing one of the, I think Sorokin deserves to be in this 100%. I will strongly disagree with your notion that he should not be.
Well, it's both Schlemmer and Iverson because they didn't make the playoffs.
Is the award the best goalie to make the playoffs?
So why can't you be up for the Hart if you don't make the playoffs? Everyone says it.
It's a good question. Well, no, you don't have to. Celebrini's a finalist.
No, that's for the Ted Lindsay.
Or sorry, excuse me. So there you go. Well, it's a different qualifier award, but how can you be the best player if your team didn't make the playoffs? I just think when you're talking about a abstract concept of MVP, things like that matter a little bit more. And
Logan Thompson.
I don't have a vote. I'll probably never have a vote for any of these things, but I'm just saying, like, it's up to the individual. And Sorokin, he led the league in shutouts. So there's that for you. He has the 29 wins that you're looking for in terms of a top 10 number there. Save percentage, 906, GAA 268. These are numbers that are both inside the top 10-ish of the league under qualified guys. And if you talk about both him and Swayman and the teams they play for, where did we expect these teams to be?
Gregor just texted me, Duke, and go look at Swayman's goals saved up above expected. He's top 3 in the league.
Yeah,
that's why
I just think like both these teams were expected to be bottom feeders.
I don't like expected.
And the goaltending really buoyed.
The analytics guy.
The goaltending buoyed both these guys. I have no problem with these three as your finals. There's a couple other guys that could be in the mix, but if we're looking at all necessary things, being the de facto number one, the wins, some advanced numbers, I think these three are all very deserving.
So you could make the argument for Dan Vladar then if you're making the argument for Swayman.
Absolutely, you could.
I got to admit, I just don't like Swayman. That's why I don't like him in there. I don't like his antics, between whistles. Because he's kind of like Binnington, like that.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, those are the three. We'll talk about.
Let's argue about it.
We're going to talk about Dan Vladar when we come back. Jordan Hall.
It's a good point.
Vladar is the same as Swayman. Then
sure. Not in the analytics, I guess.
Expected goals. You love that. Expected this. Did you expect to score? Did you expect to make that save? You love that, don't you, Slimmer?
I do, yeah.
Jordan Hall when we come back. Kevin Karius, David Schlemko, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Whether you need bodywork, paint touch-ups, or anything in between, the family at Cougar Paint and Collision takes every customer issue to heart.
We've had a lot of really good customers over the years. One guy, he would bring in everything and he would just expect us to be able to kind of fix it. It didn't matter what it was. And one time he brought in his washing machine.
The only thing that was wrong with it was the drum was rusted out or something.
Yeah, he wasn't going to replace it.
Yeah, we had to weld it up. Anyways, he was a nice old guy. Cougar Paint and Collision, our family helping your family.
For over 50 years, the Brick has been proudly serving Canada. They love to save you more on everything you need for your home. Save up to 60% off made in Canada sofas when you buy the matching love seat or chair. Find patio sets starting at just $99 and save up to 40% off mattresses. Plus, take 5 years to pay with 0% interest on furniture and mattresses. Taxes and fees due at purchase, OAC. Visit a Brick near you for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
Fast track your financial goals with a special rate term deposit from Vision Credit Union. For a limited time, take advantage of a great rate on 1, 3, or 5-year terms. Plus, as a Vision Credit Union member, you can earn up to 25% more on your interest through profit shares. For details, contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca. That's visioncu.ca.
Hi, it's Dennis from Weiss Johnson, letting you know that we'll be hosting our 14th annual charity golf tournament at the ranch on June 2nd in support of the Edmonton Down Syndrome Society. So far to date, we have raised over $325,000 that goes directly to fund various programs for this amazing organization. With your help, we hope to make this our biggest and best tournament to date, all to support a worthy local cause. To join us, please email me today, info@weiss-johnson.com. I'll get right back to you.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Just in time for the morning skate. This is the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 1020 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, David Schlemko, he of the broken rib, but gutting it out. A wild turn of events at the Alzheimer's tournament. Clemmer went into the post and broke his rib, but he's here with us today. And so is the game of the day, brought to you by St. Albert Dodge, where the 2026 Ram 2500 Black Express packages have arrived. They've got the 20-inch black aluminum wheels, black Mopar side steps, the body color bumpers, and the grille, plus that sport performance hood. See them at stalbertdodge.com as we welcome back Jordan Hall from NBC Sports in Philadelphia, covers the Flyers. Morning, Jordan. You're with Kevin Karius and the former NHLer, David Schlemko. Thanks, as always, for jumping on Sports 1440. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Happy to. Great to see you guys. And it seems appropriate that David's playing through an injury this time of year.
He's really gutting it out, Jordan. You have no idea. We had some egg sandwiches brought in from the sandwich hut. He couldn't even finish his the pain is so immense for him here today. So.
I never said that.
Whatever it takes.
Hey, whatever it takes. That's got to be the mentality for tonight in game number 6 between the Flyers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Man, just break this one down in the first 5, Jordan, where, as you know, it was a 3-0 lead, but Pittsburgh's come back here.
It's really funny. If you asked any Flyers fans who were maybe predicting their team to win this series, they probably would have said in 6 or 7 games. But there's some tension in Philadelphia right now because it's gotten to a 6 game. It's just the way they've gone about it. They went up 3-0, then they lose the next 2, and suddenly you're thinking, man, could we be one of the teams that blows a 3-0 series lead? But I think the Flyers feel pretty confident going into game 6. Down the stretch, they started to win some big games at home just to get into the playoffs. So I think they feel comfortable on home ice in a big game. This is the one they want. They've been saying it a lot. All their players, Rick Tocchet, that they weren't going to win every game and that they're still in control of the series. But that's up until tonight. If they can't win this one, they go back for a game 7 to Pittsburgh, and they are no longer in the driver's seat. So I think within the fan base, people are excited. But at the same time, they're a little nervous that they've lost the last 2, and it's gotten a little interesting here.
Yeah, sure has. So what do the Flyers need to do to kind of turn this game back in their favor? I mean, the first 3 games, it seemed like the Pens had no answer. They were locking it up in the neutral zone, turning pucks over, just playing a hell of a transition game. What's happened and what needs to change?
I think the Flyers do need to get back to being that stingy defensive team that was giving Pittsburgh very little. Over the final 25 games of the regular season, the Flyers were one of the stingiest teams in the league in terms of goals against. That's how they got into the playoffs. They're not going to light up scoreboards. That's not the type of team they are. They do need to get a little more playmaking to jump out to a lead. But at the same time, I think it boils down to the Flyers being who they are, and that's tightening things up, not giving Pittsburgh a lot of time and space, and keeping the game at 5-on-5. Pittsburgh is just a better special teams club. They just are. And the Flyers were one of the better 5-on-5 teams since March. So they like their chances when they keep it at 5-on-5. But I do think the Flyers need to tighten things up defensively because Pittsburgh's gotten to its game. Sidney Crosby has looked like number 87, and that's been the ultimate Flyers killer. Everyone knows here in Philadelphia how much that guy kills the Flyers. In games 1 through 3, he had just 1 assist, and they really held him in check. So I just think they really need to get back to the neutral zone, defensive zone, being tight on gaps, killing plays quickly, and then being willing to make a play up ice rather than just dump it back and give it back to Pittsburgh. They've kind of fallen back in that habit of just giving the puck back to Pittsburgh. I don't think you want to do that time and time again.
Jordan Hall from NBC Sports, our guest on the Kevin Karius Show with David Schlemko. So playoff pedigree, veteran leadership, how much of a concern is that for the Flyers? Because, the Pittsburgh Penguins have a lot of it, Jordan.
They do, and I do think it is a little bit of a concern. The Flyers have talked about how new they are to close out scenarios. They had a lot of these guys are first timers in the playoffs. Coming into the playoffs, they had 13 guys on their roster that were first timers in the playoffs. So not only are they new to this, but they've also never had the pressure of trying to close out a team like Pittsburgh, which has 5 players that have won a Stanley Cup. So Pittsburgh's playing with a little bit with house money, not to mention they have so much experience on their side. So I do think the Flyers, there is a little bit of a concern of like, okay, do they have what it takes to close out a series? Because we haven't seen them do it yet. They were in a 5-year playoff drought before this. But I do think internally they believe they have what it takes. In March, they had a stretch of home games where they fell flat in like 4 of them. Big games where they had a chance to gain ground. And everyone around here was like, well, they're just not ready to win the big game yet. And then come April, they had a couple really big wins on home ice, one that clinched them a playoff spot. And people really thought that was a sign of them taking a step where they were ready to do this. They were ready to play big games and win them on home ice. So I think they're kind of tapping back into that a little bit and saying, we've been here before, we can do it. But I think people kind of need to see it first to believe it.
Yeah.
So what's the scoop with Michkov? Is he still in Rick Tocchet's doghouse?
Did he make that second flight?
No, he is in Philadelphia. He was on the ice this morning. He had some pep in his step because it looks like he's getting back in the lineup. He came off with the regulars. He was not out there with the guys that stay on late for if they're a healthy scratch. So it looks like Garnet Hathaway will probably come out of the lineup. Michkov will come back in, and I think that's the right call. Michkov didn't have the best 4 games. He went scoreless. He really went into the playoffs with a lot of momentum, but was unable to sustain it. And I think playoff hockey's just gotten the best of him a little bit in the sense of the pace, how much competitiveness you need to have. You got to compete along the boards. You have to go to the net. It's not all finesse east-west. And he is so good at that stuff, and you want him to try that. But at times, too, you need to, you need to dig in. And I think the Flyers are asking him to do that. And he's a guy that really fuels on motivation. When he gets taken out of the lineup, he's bothered by it. And I think you want that. You want him to channel it the right way. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if he comes out feeling a little extra motivated going into this game to prove that he can put an imprint on the series.
How would you describe the relationship between Michkov and Rick Tocchet, Jordan?
I think it really came along down the stretch of the season. At first, it wasn't great. I think everyone could see that following from afar, to the point where Danny Briere even had to come out in February and kind of settle things down. He actually had a press conference before a game kind of explaining how things are okay between Michkov and Tocchet, that there's growing pains, that both guys are competitive people that want to win. And but he expressed confidence that this can work. Rick Tocchet, interestingly, down the stretch, as Michkov was playing better, went out of his way to praise Michkov and said that he was very active in video meetings. He was starting to understand concepts more, that the language barrier wasn't really there anymore. And we've noticed it too. Michkov will be very friendly in the locker room after a practice or a skate. He'll say hello. He can converse with you. He won't do it in front of cameras yet, which I think is understandable, but the language, I think, has come a long way. He's gotten more comfortable. He's hanging out with a lot of his rookie teammates. So I just sense a guy that's starting to get a little more acclimated and understand how the Flyers want him to play. So it's come along, but no doubt there was bumps in the road. It's been rocky at times. I think Tocchet will have to compromise at times and understand the way Michkov wants to play. And then Mishkov's got to compromise too and understand that it's a team game. And sometimes you have to dig in defensively, or you have to make the right assignment read to stay in the lineup to produce. So I think it's been a give and take, and they're getting there.
Any concern for you, Jordan, of busting up that fourth line? Because, they've been pretty good with Hathaway, Glendening, and Couturier.
Kevin, that was one thing I think they probably talked about long and hard was, do we want to switch this up? Because early in the series, the fourth line was so effective, was so good for them. But I think over the last 2 or 3 games, I think it's lost its effectiveness a little bit. Garner Hathaway's taken a couple of penalties that I think weren't great. And I think they really need and want to get Michkov back in the lineup. And they have a guy like Tyson Forster that might be able to slide down to the fourth line and play a lot of minutes there and allow Sean Couturier to play a lot of minutes too. They've played together before in the past. So I think it got to a point where it was time to maybe give Hathaway a break, get Michkov in there for a little more offense, and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So who else do the Flyers need to see a little bit more from to get over the hump here tonight?
Well, Forster's a really good one. He's a guy that has scored a lot of big goals for them and really went into the playoffs with momentum. He came back earlier than everyone anticipated. He had an injury to his arm, had surgery, and the timeline they gave us was that he was going to miss the rest of the regular season. He ends up surprisingly coming back, plays 8 games in the regular season, and was really good. He had 3 goals. He scored a shootout winner in the playoff clincher for them. But so far in the series, he has no points in 5 games, just 7 shots, and he's got one of the best shooters on the team, a shoot-first mentality guy. So it's been surprising to see him this quiet offensively. I think the Flyers think this is a perfect time for him to maybe break out of it, but also just their big names. Their top 4 goal scorers from the regular season, Owen Tippett, Trevor Zegras, Travis Konecny, and Matvei Michkov, have combined for 3 goals. So as much as Pittsburgh's looked at its star players to turn it on, Tocchet talked about it today, that they need more from their big guys too. And I think it's going to come down to those guys wanting to make a play and making things happen rather than kind of wanting to blend in and maybe not make the dangerous play, but make the safe play. They got to kind of reverse that a little bit.
Jordan Hall with us from NBC Sports in Philadelphia, covers the Flyers. Porter Martone here, Jordan. I mean, can you believe how almost like a seamless transition it's been from him, from junior to college and then now to the NHL? What have you seen here?
Kevin, I thought he was good, but I didn't think he would fit in this quickly and easily. Like, he's one of their top 4 or 5 forwards right now. At times he's played like one of their best players on the ice. I'm not surprised because he was such a mature player coming out of college. He really tore up the college ranks. He got stronger there, and he always was a confident guy that you could tell just had some pedigree to his game. Like he plays the right way. And then that's exactly how the Flyers wanted him to come in and fit. But I thought maybe there would be a hiccup from time to time where he would have to come out of the lineup. Not once has he come out of the lineup, and he's playing important minutes too. Wayne Simmons talked about him, former Flyer, a beloved guy here. He scouted him a little bit on the OHL trail before his draft, and he was really surprised that Martone fell to them at 6. He said the Flyers got lucky that he fell. So everyone in-house with the Flyers really liked this kid, and they were just so overjoyed that he fell to 6. And I think we're seeing why they were so high on him. Just a kid that is smart, and he can really shoot. Like his release is NHL-like. He can fire the puck quickly, and he fits in with NHL talent. So it's been fun to see, and I think the Flyers were just so happy they got this kind of boost down the stretch out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a start. Super impressive. Jordan, like looking at this series as a whole, I feel like the Flyers have had success, those first 3 games when they're plugging up the neutral zone, making it physical, kind of sucking the Penguins into the extracurriculars. So I guess, do you expect to see maybe a conscious effort from the Flyers tonight to slow down the game a little bit, scrum it up, play that 1-1-3, really try to slow the Penguins down?
I do. And that was what was critical to their success down the stretch. At the Olympic break, they were really limping. They went in with 12 losses in the last 15 games. And Rick Tocchet has talked openly about they made changes at the break. And that was to the neutral zone, the defensive zone. And I think the changes were like they didn't want to give up the outside as much as they were. They were trying to kill plays and close gaps fast and hard and not make people have to think as much when they were in those zones. Just go out and kill a play, and it worked for them. They went on a torrid stretch after the Olympic break, got in, and again, we're one of the best defensive teams in the league, and it worked in games 1 through 3. So I do think that's going to be an emphasis, and also absolutely kind of muck it up, get the Penguins maybe a little frustrated. That worked in game 3. There was a whole scrum in game 3 that totally turned the game in the Flyers' favor, where Brian Rust lost his cool. It put 5 players in the penalty box for both teams. The Flyers ripped off 3 goals in that second period, and they won the game. So I definitely think they're going to try to do something similar to try to get the game going like that and really get the building into it. Philadelphia loves that stuff. Yeah. They're going to want to see the physicality. They're going to want to see scrums, and if the building gets on the Flyers' side, that works in their favor.
Jordan Hall with us on Sports 1440. Dan Vladar, such a great season, continuing in the playoffs. We were just talking about the Vezina Trophy nominees here. Vladar, do you think, in your opinion, and everyone has that bias of seeing their guy the most, but could Vladar be in this conversation?
I think so. Absolutely. And it wouldn't surprise me when the votes come out once the award is handed out to the winner that he got some votes.
Yeah.
He was by far the Flyers' most valuable player. They have team awards here that we vote on, and Vladar won, and it wouldn't surprise me if he ran away with it. There was no one more valuable to the Flyers, and his season just been really neat to see for a guy that's been a backup up until this point. And he said he had a heart-to-heart with his goalie coach back home in Czechia, and they talked about, all right, do you want to either be a very good backup or do you want to be a guy that can play well over 30 games? And they worked on things. They hit on some weaknesses, and it paid off. And he ended up buying his goalie coach a watch as a thank you because he felt like he owed it to him. Vladar has just shattered his career high in games and wins, and he's just been so steady. Just makes all the right saves. That it's rare when you see him have a bad one. He's had one in this series that he played the puck behind his net and it turned into a turnover. But other than that, he's been rock solid and good. And the Flyers will probably go as far as Vladar takes him because he's been that important to them.
Mm-hmm. Got a feeling for tonight, Jordan? What are you thinking?
Guys, honestly, I do think the Flyers close it out here. I think you see why it's so rare in hockey that teams come back from 3-0. 4 teams have done it, which is actually pretty impressive. But it's so rare because I think you see teams, they find some momentum and they get at least a couple games, but it's really hard to rip off 4 straight. And I just think the Flyers understand the urgency of this moment, that it's on home ice, that they don't want to go back to Pittsburgh for Game 7. And the reason I'm confident that they'll do it here is just what they did down the stretch in April. They finally got over the hurdle of winning big games here. it can be a pressure cooker in Philly. It's just the way it is when the fans are great, but if the tide turns a little bit, sometimes they can work against you. I think they learned how to win big games here, and it's going to help them tonight. I think they're going to close it out here.
Jordan, as always, thanks so much. Enjoy game number 6 tonight. Should be a doozy. Maybe we'll talk soon. Really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Thanks so much, David. Have a great day, guys.
You betcha. That's Jordan Hall, NBC Sports in Philadelphia. Covers the Flyers, game number 6.
He believes.
It's, it's to me, I totally agree about that 3-0 deficit. But I think, don't you, you have to just kind of put that out of your mind. And
I don't know. I kind of think like every series has its own little world personality. I don't know. It's
just funny. Like, again, this would have been a gentleman's sweep for the Oilers, losing the first one and then losing 4 straight. To lose 4 straight to a team is tough. To beat a team 4 straight is even more tougher.
Yeah.
So I get where he's coming from. It's just such a close series. I mean, it's going to be a 1-goal game tonight.
Yeah, it'll be tight. 87 will probably have a chance to decide the game at some point.
Well, probably. That's the game of the day, brought to you by St. Albert Dodge, where the 2026 Ram 2500 Black Express, they're on the lot. Check them out at stalbertdodge.com. When we come back, we'll little potpourri of things. Going to talk about Schlemmer's Medicine Hat Tigers. Big win last night, Schlemmer.
Yep.
So they're up 2-1 in that series. How about this? Latvia's just beat the United States here at the World Under 18.
5-2.
5-2. I don't know. I didn't see if there was empty netter.
Nice stuff.
But, I mean, you look at what's... So, okay. Czechoslovakia beat Finland earlier today.
Czech Republic.
Whatever.
Czechia. Whatever they're calling it these days.
Czechs. 2-1. Sweden beat Canada 4-2. Latvia over the USA 5-2. And Slovakia and Denmark still, I guess, on the ice are still playing. 4-rip for Slovaks. So it will be Slovakia and Latvia, I think, unless they reseed them. And then it'll be Sweden and the Czechs in the other semifinal. But this is it's
riveting.
I understand the tournament. I understand, because it's heavily scouted because of the draft.
Yeah.
But I understand. But there's so many guys that,
it's not best on best.
Oh, are still playing.
Yeah.
In the Western League, in the CHL, in the wherever,
Yeah.
It's just tough. I don't know where they're supposed to have the tournament.
True.
I don't know when or where, but anyway. And then I want to ask Schlemmer one question, and you can get your thought process on it, because we see it, and this is nothing new, but I always go, man, it just irks me because we've seen so many times. It happened last night in the Dallas game. You pull the goalie with well over 2 minutes left, but you pull him, and then you get the empty netter scored on you almost immediately. To me, I understand how everyone's going longer and longer and where the draw is and everything. But I'm always thinking too, man, it's just a little bit too soon for me. And I don't know, maybe I'm just an old fart, but that's straight ahead. Kevin Karius, David Schlemko, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Would you like to be a part of history for the month of April? I'm kidding. Or as the kids say, bro, I'm joking. Would you like to help us set a record in April? Chill. Still kidding. At Northgate, we aren't trying to set any records or tell you how many vehicles we sell, and we really don't think you'd care. But what you will care about is this. Every dealer has the same costs. Trust me, GM does not have a favorite kid. You get to decide where you buy. 0% financing, a great selection, and of course, great people. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or business online at NorthgateGM.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep, and yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
Fast track your financial goals with a special rate term deposit from Vision Credit Union. For a limited time, take advantage of a great rate on 1, 3, or 5-year terms. Plus, as a Vision Credit Union member, you can earn up to 25% more on your interest through profit shares. For details, contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca. That's visioncu.ca.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
What does deadline mean?
It means you have to do something before time runs out.
Oh, like buying your big brother's big sister's dream home tickets?
Yes, exactly like that.
The Dream Home Lottery deadline is April 30th. That's tomorrow. Your chance to win the grand prize, your choice, a dream home or $1 million and take home half the Win 50 jackpot is almost gone. Every ticket supports kids right here in our community. BigBrothersDreamHome.org. When you buy a ticket, you help a child.
Lottery license 745563 and 745562. Please play responsibly.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take one for Gene Principe. Hey, thanks for being on time.
I'm always punctual. Now, how about some cool beats while I drop the heat?
Ready when you are.
Tall legacy, tall legacy.
Nice.
Boom! I'm a musical genius.
Legacy's gonna love this for AC season.
What's not to love with no interest and no Principe payments for 1 year?
Are you always like this?
Yep. Unlike Legacy, I never know when to cool it.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Do we want to get right?
Your game, your station. Sports 1440.
And watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Donnie! All right, welcome back to the big program, 1044 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, David Schlemko, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick. We have just nailed it down. Well, Eddie's got it. Eddie's okay. He said anytime, right? So the big Szechuan Castle luncheon is going to be this Friday. At what time, Duke? 12:30?
Sure.
12:15?
That's a little tight. So like some of us work more than just 4 hours in the day, Kevin.
Yeah, but I want to get going so I can have. I want to play around at golf on Friday, probably. Try to get in 9 holes.
Me too.
Okay.
Let's go play after we're done at the Palace.
Really? Okay. Well, let's look into that. Laura,
we'll be all loaded.
Oh, you want to come and ride around the cart?
Yeah, Slimmer, you can be my cart. You can ride shotgun with me.
You don't want me to be your caddy, Duke.
No, I'm not going to have to do that.
You.
I just need your tips and tricks. Yeah, I respond well to negative reinforcement.
Okay,
so.
Duke, you figure this out. Call Eddie, call SKS. Well, he's probably sniffing out again.
Kevin, just message the group chat. It's your favorite thing.
No. Did I tell you last week that SKS phoned me?
No.
It was like 12:30. He goes, "Hey, what are you doing? You want to go for a trial run at the Szechuan Castle just to kind of scout it out and see how it'll be for our big lunch?" No.
I always left that group chat when SKS texted during the game. Like I never get to watch a game live.
What did he like? I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't even read it. It's something about the game. It's just like, no, man, don't be doing this.
Yeah. Just worry about how you're gonna unbuckle your pants when you get to the buffet. Hey, Medicine Hat Tigers.
I mean,
how do they do it, man?
I don't know how they're doing it. The legend of Willie.
You know what?
To lose that many top players and be back
McKenna
in the conference final, and Lindstrom.
Yeah.
You see, McKenna was there last night.
Well, he's been skating.
He's been skating with them.
I did not know that, but I did. Like the team brought him out to do the little pre-game hype up with the crowds and stuff.
That's awesome.
Been skating with the team in Penn State gear.
Love it. Power move, eh?
Wow. Well, he's going to the Worlds.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's
That's all. That's all Willie though. Like all the former Tigers that are pros, they all love going back there because he treats everyone so well.
I wonder if Gavin McKenna would have had second thoughts now. Just how the season went, and you look where Medicine Hat is.
Possibly. You're doing the right thing for your career. What you believe is the right thing, right? He played higher level hockey this year.
He did.
Would you
probably put on some good weight, like good muscle?
Probably like to take out a couple little instances there off the ice, but I think hockey-wise, he made the right call.
I know where you're coming from too, Schlemmer, but again, maybe I'm just an old guy that thinks that you get more character built up from certain things, and I don't know.
I mean, hey, I would love it if he was playing for the Tigers right now.
Kidding.
They could use him.
Oh, they're up 2-1, so they won in overtime last night, 2-1 over the Raiders.
Yeah.
I mean, Everett's just steamrolled everyone out.
Yeah, they've only lost one game so far in the playoffs.
Lost one to Kelowna, I think, right? Yeah. So they just swept Penticton V's. So anyway, and then before we were going to break, I asked you about the teams now and the mentality about pulling the goalie and win.
Right.
So just maybe give us your thoughts on what you think of what you're seeing. And I mean, last night you can't count. I'm talking about a 1-goal game.
Yeah.
One goal game.
So let's talk a 1-goal lead here. So for me, I'm a little bit of the old school. And now I know that the analytics say different. They say the earlier the better. You should pull at 2.5, 3 minutes. But as like an offensive D who ate a lot of dashes with an empty net, like it happens a lot. Right. And I just think let's say you got 3 minutes left, you're down a goal, you pull the goalie. So you're going to have 2 shifts out there still, right? So maybe you don't even have those top 6 guys that you want out to score the goal. So you got your second line power play, so to speak, with 1 extra guy. And let's say you get scored on again. So now it's instead of 2-1, it's 3-1. You still got your goalie pulled. Now your first unit of 6 goes out and scores. And now it's 3-2 and you still lose the game. I'm not saying that's going to happen every time, but for me, I don't know. I guess I'm a little old school. I would say wait until you got that minute and a half-ish and you got your 1 shift with your 6 guys out there to do the job and let them do it.
And for me, the reason I brought it up again, and we've seen it quite a few times in the postseason here, last night in the Dallas game, it's just over 2 minutes left. And they're not ready, as you say. They're not ready. And then the next thing you know, it's on the rush and it's in the back of your net for an empty netter. And that was Kaprizov last night.
Yeah. And nothing's more frustrating than that too, right? Especially if you're just jumping on the ice, going to get down the play and bang the pucks in the back of your net.
Yeah. It's just deflating.
Yeah. Very deflating. There you go.
So, and again, this started to happen. And I think, Patrick Wall was one of the first guys, I think, when he's on his first go around, when he started coaching.
Yeah.
He was one of the first guys. And his mentality, I think, was, well, at that point, we don't have their best players on the ice either.
Yeah.
But if you got to make sure that your guys are on there.
That's true.
As you said.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. So, I know. I find it oh man, you got 2 more minutes left, and now you're down by 2. And
right, I get it when you're down multiple goals, 2, 3, sure. I don't know about 5 minutes left last night, but I guess you're down 3.
Well, look at this. Tricky Dicky texting about the castle. He says it's awesome. He used to go there when he worked on the West End. Wow.
Wait.
So Friday, Duke, are you going to take care of the arrangements? Because you're going to have to get a reservation.
An appointment? Is that what we're calling it?
No,
I'll book an appointment. I don't know. It sounds like Sean might have some sort of inside intel there. I'll huddle up with him here this afternoon and figure out what the plan is. If I need to book a rezo for the 5 of us, so be it. But
yeah.
He's definitely the most excited.
Well, Eddie's second.
Yeah. I'm the least excited.
I don't know, Duke. This is going to be a big feed for you. Especially after all.
You added an unnecessary D on the end of that. There's going to be a big fee.
No, fee and feed. But I mean, after all your hardship on the farm, I mean, this is
I still carry that hunger with me now. I'm not a huge volume eater.
No, me neither. I don't know if taking me to a buffet is worth it, but
you and me both. Schlemmer and I'll share a plate.
Eddie will make up for us.
But never mind, Schlemmer. With this rib injury, this could be tough sledding for you to,
pack it in.
Wow.
Well, I'm hoping by Friday I'm going to feel a little bit better, but honestly, it feels the same as it did when it happened.
Tomorrow night, game 6. Well, we'll be talking about it on Friday at the luncheon.
Oh, yeah.
So tomorrow's game 6, do you got a feeling, inkling? I mean, after what you saw last night, does it matter?
I don't have a great feeling with the way the Oilers played the last 40 minutes. I was really expecting, once they scored that 4-1 goal, for them to kind of just put the pedal down and like kind of step on their necks a little bit. And like Duke said, plant that seed of doubt. I think that they're still going back with a lot of confidence. And you just never know what you're going to get with the Oilers, honestly. I'd expect them to score the first goal after the first 5 games.
5 straight, yeah. And that's the first time that they did not give up the lead. I just think that there's just too much in that room yet. You can talk about guys being hurt, but and all that, and guys going, maybe we just don't have it this year. There's too much pride. There's too much everything, Schlemmer. And you know how it is.
Especially with those two guys, man. I always say it. Like, even if they're a little bit banged up, you're never going to bet against 97 and 29.
I look at it like how difficult it is. Like, what did they make the playoffs in game, 77 or what? I don't even know what it was. Duke, is it 70? It's like that in 06. They made it on game 80.
Yeah.
You don't know if you're ever going to get back. You never, something could happen. You get hurt, you get whatever.
Right.
You don't know. So, you got to put yourself, again, you never get opportunities. You never know when your next one is. So,
yep.
I always think of that, the door the Oilers had in the locker room, before they moved over when they were at Northlands and Rexall.
The big Oiler door?
Yeah, well, they had the door where, the guys used to pound the piss out of it going. And then what happened is they ended up putting a sticker for each win in the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
So that door is it's in the Hall of Fame room right now at Rogers. But it was a big, it might sound like a lot still right now, but you got to take them one at a time, but it's 14 wins.
Yeah.
So they would put a sticker up for each win.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, the Stanley Cup at the end of
Yeah.
one of those. And, they did it 5 times. And then obviously in 06, and then there was one short. I don't know if there's another door somewhere in the back of the new place here, but.
Well, most teams have some kind of fancy case that they carry around. And stick the game puck in there for the win.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Opportunity doesn't come along and you got to take advantage of it no matter what. And here, you know what? Big Baldy, my neighbor, we were talking about guys being hurt and stuff like that. And if you look, there's a video out because it was the anniversary of, I think it's Esa Tikkanen scoring in overtime against Calgary. And it's 90, I guess. And you'll see the video. And Mark Messier is getting off the bench. And everyone has just pounded into the corner to congratulate Tikkanen because they won the series. And Messier can barely get off the bench.
Barely move.
And now
Warrior.
Yes. And you got more series to come yet.
Right.
So, well, Schlemmer, get well, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Try some jumping jacks. Those always help. Eh? A couple burpees, hey? Some burpees.
Get the range of motion going.
Get in that simulator. Get in that sim. Stretch that pig out.
Couple more weeks, bud.
Oh, good stuff. Thanks for coming in, Schlemmer.
Hey.
It's our co-host for Cougar Paint and Collision, David Schlemko. Coming up at the top of the hour, it is Fantasy Frenzy with
the former Rochep T-Bird,
Connor Halley, and the Duke of Delburne at 12 o'clock. The Lowdown with Alan Mitchell. 2 till 6. Jason Greger drives us home with the Jason Greger Show. I was going to say we got Blue Jays baseball, but their first pitch is 1:07 today, an afternoon game, as they close out their series with Boston. Trey Savage was really good yesterday. Again, 5 1/3. No runs allowed. Didn't walk a guy either. So good news for the Jays on the injury front there. We got Fox Sports all night long. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. Before all that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fusion Promo Marketing. Expand your brand. High quality promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Get noticed at fusionpromomarketing.ca. That's Fusion with a Z. Hey, thanks everyone for listening this morning. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all the great texts and the interaction. We could not do it without you. Hope you have a terrific rest of your Wednesday. We'll see you back tomorrow morning at 7 bells. Until then, here is the Duke.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Three-game slate in the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. Tampa Bay hosting Montreal in Game 5 of that series, not at a 2 games piece. Puck drop just after 5 o'clock. At 5:30, the Penguins trying to keep their season alive. They head back to Philly for Game 6, trailing the Flyers 3-2. And then the nightcap, puck drop just after 8 o'clock. Mammoth and Golden Knights from Sin City. That series also tied at 2 games apiece. Finals for this year's Vezina Trophy. The league's top goaltender announced this morning. Andrei Vasilevsky led all goaltenders with 39 wins this season. Fellow Russian Ilya Sorokin, who topped the league with 7 shutouts. And Boston, Jeremy Swayman, 271 GA and 908 save percentage are your 3 finalists. IIHF U18 World Championship quarterfinal results this morning. Canada falling to Sweden 4-2. The Czechs beat Finland 4-1. USA upset by Latvia 5-2 the final. And currently host nation Slovakia beating Denmark 5-1. In the association tonight, trio of playoff games, including the Raptors back in Cleveland after evening the series at 2 games apiece. Tip-off at 5:30 in Ohio. The Orlando Magic try to punch their ticket to round number 2, pulling off the upset over top-seeded Detroit Pistons. Tip-off at 5 from Michigan. And in the nightcap, Houston trails the Lakers 3-1 in the series. They'll try and stay alive. Tip-off just after 8 from Los Angeles. Toronto Tempo, newest addition to the WNBA, will kick off their preseason action. First ever game for the franchise, playing the Connecticut Sun tonight from Coca-Cola Coliseum. And in the majors today, full slate yet again. The Blue Jays matinee affair in the rubber match against the Red Sox. First pitch just after 1 o'clock. It'll be Eric Lauer on the bump for Toronto. Brian Bello countering for Boston. Coming up on Sports 1440, it is Fantasy Frenzy with Hallie and Douglas. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports